Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M,
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
TexAgs Live.
I feel like I should be listening to the theme song from the Jeffersons. You know, we're moving on up.
We will develop men, we will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
It's a blessing to be in this position, and we're just thankful to be here. We're thankful to have the opportunity to go out there and play in front of the 12 man.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
It's been special. The 12th man this past week was unbelievable.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Buchanan,
Nuño.
I want you to guess the personality/analyst. I'm going to read a quote, okay? And you got to guess who it is.
All right, that'll be difficult, but okay.
I believe in their head coach. I think that this fan base deserves it because they've supported this program at a top 10 level, and they have not gotten top 10 results from their team. They've got the right guy now, and he can bring this thing to fruition, and I'm talking about Texas A&M.
Josh Pate.
No. I'm going to give you 5 guesses.
Okay. Greg McElroy.
No. 2.
Joe Tessitore.
No, sorry.
Okay, Herb Street would never say anything nice about A&M.
That's 3. Yeah.
Gosh. I keep...
I'm going to tell you this. Go ahead.
Peter Burns.
Wrong. 0 for 4.
Tom Hart.
Wrong. I'm going to say this. Somebody you would maybe not expect to say something nice about A&M.
Joel Klatt.
Ding, 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 ding,
Really?
ding. Yeah, Joel Klatt. He's on our team now. I can have him on the show without a message board post.
What a brilliant statement.
Brilliant. Yeah, factual. We have supported, the community of Aggies, supported a top 10, with a top 10 kind of passion, if you will.
Oh, they get national championship support.
Yes, they do. Joel Klatt, you're on to something there. What about the coaches? Are they on to something? Texas A&M number 21 in the coaches poll?
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
I think it's fair too.
And kind of, you know what? I kind of even like it right there. You know, you're in the discussion, but you still have that
you got to prove some
under
stuff.
the radar.
Yeah.
Kind of surprise attack.
When the season is over, okay, would Texas A&M surprise you if they are 21st?
Nothing about Texas A&M surprises me, really. I think A&M has the ability to finish to get into the playoff, and who knows what will happen there. And if they went 7-5, I'd say,
yeah,
because there's just too many questions that have to be answered. Now, if the answers are all positive answers, hey, that pass defense really got better. Hey, that pass rush was there. Hey, they were able to tighten up the big plays given up in the run game. Hey, Marcel Reed played at the level that we thought. And KC Concepcion was the missing, or he and Mario Craver were the missing pieces to the offense. And they stayed healthy. You tell me all those things, then, I mean, they could win it all.
All right, so look at that top 25 list right there, all right? We pop it up, bing, pops up. Which team doesn't have a lot of questions, Obi?
I don't know, because I think every team has a certain amount of warts or questions, however you want to put it. And I think the whole national championship race this year is more wide open than ever.
Yeah.
Would it surprise anybody if Clemson, whether they're 7, if they won it? Yeah, maybe, because they're not getting challenged as much throughout the season, and maybe that is actually a bad thing when you get into tournament play.
Yeah.
Penn State's number 3. Nobody would be surprised if they won it, obviously, that high. But when you look at how underwhelming their quarterback play has been, I know stats, but when you get into big games and the people they lost, same at Texas and same at Ohio State, look at the people they lost. Alabama, down there at 9. You know, we've dismissed them. There may be somebody hovering but between 11 and 25, and maybe it's Texas A&M that comes out.
I look at Tennessee, and I'm like, I got a lot of questions about Tennessee.
Yeah, I don't see Tennessee at 18.
Yeah, I don't either. Texas at number 1. I don't have a problem with it. I wish it weren't the case, but I don't have a problem with it. Who would you put above them? I have just as many questions about Ohio State as I have for Texas.
It's wide open.
I personally, Obi, I was telling you this before the show, I personally value returners more in this era of college football than I do unproven at quarterback and beyond. So do I have questions about what kind of quarterback Arch will be in year 1? Yeah, of course I have questions. Just like I have questions about Julian Sayin at Ohio State. Penn State, do I have questions about Drew Aller? Yeah, but I value their running game, their defense, and they're pretty much good for 10-2 every year. I value them. I can make an argument for them at number 1. Notre Dame's got questions. Georgia's got questions. Clemson does not have as many questions because I think that they are a returning team, and they play in an easy conference, and you already went into that.
How much of that, their caliber of competition, makes them look better than they are? Now, they may say, no, hey, we had a chance to beat Texas. Yeah, but you didn't. You also got lucky to win the conference and beat SMU. So, there's 2 years ago, I could have said, and not just me, everybody, or almost everybody that pays attention, could have said, Michigan's the best team in college football. 3 years ago, Georgia's the best team of last year.
Ohio State.
It's up to you not to screw it up. Now, Ohio State almost screwed it up.
But I think there were at least teams that you could make an argument. You know, if not Ohio State, maybe Oregon,
right?
But this year
or Georgia, because
it's Georgia. I'm not as high on Georgia this year as I usually
am.
Are
people I know that follow Georgia.
Yeah, I'm not. That doesn't mean I don't think they can be in the SEC championship game, which is so funny,
absolutely. Right? But back to your point, you put more emphasis, rightly so, on guys, not just returners, but returning experience,
right?
Production, and Georgia just doesn't have as much of that as typically. They do typically recruit well, so maybe the next guys are going to be, really
in a group of guys, and he's like, got a Georgia guy right there, got a Florida guy right there, and just kind of going through like we got a Texas tight end right there. Like A&M has brought in guys from brands.
There's a Washington guy out there.
Can these guys be the guy at Texas A&M is a question.
We'll see. I think, again, I'm very, not just me, everybody's very optimistic and high on Casey Concepcion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The other guys, I think maybe the biggest, most important guy they brought in on defense, I mean, you could say Humphrey.
Julian
you could
Humphrey,
say Shaw, maybe. Yeah. But I think it's, and I butcher his name all the time, I'm sorry. Onyedin?
Tyler Onyedin.
Onyedin. Because he got to bolster that defensive front. But
Dayon Hayes, another name.
Dayon Hayes.
Yeah.
You know, I don't necessarily think they have to be the guy, because you might already have the guy already here.
Mm-hmm.
But can you be a guy?
Right.
That's a productive player.
Can you be Will Lee level? I think he was the best defensive player last year, but can you? Is asking for a lot. But I'm just saying that level of production. Can one or two new guys be that guy this year?
Well, let's hope, because he was an all-conference player. So hopefully, Julian Humphrey will be an all-conference player, and Tyler Onyedin and Casey Concepcion. Again, you're looking at what we said earlier. You have some questions. If those questions are answered positively, A&M could be. I'm not saying they will be. Again, there's a lot of questions out there. Could be as good as anybody in the SEC.
Yep. Let's talk about what we saw yesterday at practice. So, not a lot of stuff while we're there. That being said, I know you were paying attention to the wide receivers, and you made a comment to me like, "Do they look a little bigger than I kind of thought?"
Yeah, because we keep hearing they're not. You just don't have the big guy, right? You really miss Noah because he's a 6'6" guy, and they don't have the. And I'm looking up there and saying, he's not 6'6", but that's Jerome Miles, is a big dude.
He's a big dude.
There's a couple of other guys. Ashton Bretham Roman is not a little guy.
Yeah. He made some nice plays yesterday.
Yeah, you know what? I was noticing every drill, it's like he does them perfectly, and then he goes out and we're not seeing him competing against somebody else, really competing, but he catches everything. I don't think I've seen him drop a ball since practice started. He may be that guy, that under the radar guy that turns out to be a big surprise.
Yeah, well, we've been talking, not we, Billy brought him up a while ago that he had been impressing the coaching staff. I liked watching some of their catch radius drills where they have to sky up in the air. They've got some vertical leap there, buddy.
Theo made one yesterday. It wasn't the best thrown ball, and I didn't know he could jump that high.
Yeah.
I mean, he got up there. I know he's not a wide receiver, but, when it comes down to the end zone, do you care what position they play?
Right. What about you? One of the things you wrote about was the return game, and we feel pretty comfortable with Terry Bussey. Want to see him take a step?
Yeah, I feel comfortable with him back there, but more importantly, I want your opposing fans and team to be uncomfortable with him. Like A&M is, if you think about it, over the last decade or so, A&M's just been blessed in the return game.
Yes, they have.
From Christian Kirk, Anais Smith, Jay Sean Corbin for a year as a kickoff returner, Devon Achane, even Rashawn Paul. He was good, just nobody acknowledged it because he was between Christian Kirk and Anais Smith. It's like, never mind. The return game has been spectacular. So are they going to have somebody that's going to
scare teams?
Yeah, that's going to reach
kick
that
away
standard.
from him.
I hope so. And Bussey might be that guy.
Yeah, and you
Could
wrote
be some other guys.
You wrote some other guys that were getting some.
I was just watching guys that were taking, when they were doing a coverage drill, were being the returner.
Right.
And of course, Terry was one of those guys. Mario Craven could have been. Maybe they even guys.
Maybe they're just taking turns,
planning on using.
Yeah.
But it just made me think about if that's Terry or Mario. Man, who's going to be that guy?
Question for you.
Okay.
Name of the show.
You mean this show?
Yeah.
Not just the hour, but the show.
No, the show.
TexAgs Live.
Presented.
David Gardner's Jewelers.
In the
Rollo Insurance Studio.
The hour itself does have a name.
The Go Hour, brought to you by CC, the Warehouse CC Creation.
Okay. And the platform that we're on.
We're on the Holistic Planning Cool Zone platform.
Yeah, that's right. And then if you want to call the phone number, you can call it at
979.
That's correct.
693.
You got it.
1150.
Correct. That is actually, that phone number has a name during this hour or during this show.
Is that Buppies?
That's Buppies.
Yeah.
Buppies Catering and Bartending.
Back in the day, Buppies used to cater the coach's press luncheon back when they had luncheon.
Okay.
And it was always that. It was good.
Delish.
I looked for, they used to do these. I know you wouldn't eat it, but they used to have these apple tarts for dessert.
Yeah.
Heavenly.
Bellissimo. And let's go around the room and say hi to the people. Can we do that? Yeah. Behind the glass, left to right is Nick Savage. Nick, good morning, buddy.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
Howdy, good morning.
The voice of the Rudder Rangers.
Yeah, can't wait. That's end of the month. Going to be the best time of year. High school football on Friday, college football Saturdays. Quick question for y'all.
Answer.
Which team out of this top 25 on the preseason coaches poll, which team do you think will finish higher than they are currently ranked, and which team will finish lower than they are currently ranked? And that could be completely out of the rankings, or maybe, I'm looking at Penn State at 3 as someone who might finish, lower. And I know this is the coaches poll. This is just a little preseason talk, but just your thoughts on that.
Miami falls out of that 10 spot, and I believe Tennessee falls out of that 18 spot. South Carolina falls out of that 13 spot.
Well, I think there's a whole bunch of them. Like South Carolina, I've said that. I don't even think I'd be surprised if Tennessee finishes ranked. I mean, they're already having such quarterback issues that they're blurring the quarterback picture.
Florida, right? Got to be Florida.
Arizona State. That's not Scattaboo.
Not Scattaboo.
That's not Scattaboo. The guy that's going to finish higher, I'm going to say Boise State, 125.
Texas Tech, potentially.
How about Texas A&M?
I hope so.
I hope
please,
so.
Just, please.
And why is Michigan at 14?
Should it be higher or lower?
I don't know.
They're
probably right where they need to be.
Yeah.
Alabama's going to be higher than 9.
LSU, lower than 10? 9, sorry.
I think LSU's the same team they were last year. I really do.
Which would put them, what, like 18?
Probably about 15 to 20.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be good. But, yeah, we've talked about it before. The places where they made gains, but there's other places where they...
Notre Dame at 5. Do they finish around that? If they lose to Miami and A&M and they win the rest of their games, do they still finish in the top 5?
I'll tell you about mid-September.
Yeah.
If A&M beats them, and I think there's a great chance that could happen. A&M won't be favored, and shouldn't be, but there's a great chance that they.
Are you leaning towards picking them?
I don't know. Let me see who's playing and everything that week. But if A&M beats them, then I think they're going to lose at least one more along the way.
Okay. Let me just throw this at you. Okay. I shouldn't even do this, but I'm going to do it. Let's say A&M goes to South Bend and they demolish the Irish. What kind of show will we have that next week?
Oh, well, it's going to be a great show.
Insufferable?
Yeah, insufferable.
What happens if A&M gets demolished?
Yeah. Inconsolable. We'll go from insufferable.
I might get into real estate with Gabe Bach if that happens.
Yeah, make a lot of money. Make that Gabe Bach money.
All right, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Ava Davis, she was on a 6-month pilgrimage to the beach. Hello.
It was just 2 weeks, but it did feel like a long time. Because y'all were at SEC Media Days the week before I left.
That's why it feels so long.
It was like, I haven't seen y'all in 3 weeks, but I was here 2 weeks ago.
Which beach?
We went to Port Aransas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was great. It was fun.
Good.
Take the ferry over and the...
We did not.
Oh, you didn't?
We've done it before. It takes longer to wait for the ferry.
You a big Ferry fan?
Back when Danny Ferry, when he played at Duke, back when...
Wasn't he Rookie of the Year? Or am I making that up? I might be making that up.
I don't think so. But back in the day, the last time I went there, I don't think you had another option. You had to take the ferry to get over there.
Huh.
But anyway, I remember the Dolphins following the ferry along, just like that. Dolphins. So anyway, what is
the awkward silence? Ava?
Devon H. ain't a Dolphin.
Are you sure? Ask not Tyreek Chappelle, Tyreek Hill.
Is he a Dolphin?
Yeah.
He's still a Dolphin?
He's still a Dolphin. Okay. He was talking mess about our boy Devon. You didn't know about that?
No, I missed it.
It was not really mess, but he said, I guess they asked him something about the short yardage situations. He's like, if I were the coaching staff, I'd take Devon Achane out. He's not a short yardage back.
Huh.
Which might be true, but don't say it. Anyway, go ahead.
The soccer team hosts the Rice Owls in an exhibition match today at 7:30 p.m. The Aggies have 10 returners, highlighted by one specifically, Sydney Fuller, who earned SEC Freshman of the Week 2 times last season. She's the starting goalkeeper. And along with her and the other 10 returners, they have 10 additional transfers from this offseason. This is the first of the 2 exhibition matches for the Aggies. The Aggies will host UTRGV at 7:30 on Saturday. They will open the regular season at Thursday, August 15th, with a home match against Baylor at 7:30 p.m.
And what time is that scrimmage?
7:30.
Tonight?
Yes.
And that A&M's been pretty good to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Richmond Webb.
Yeah.
Those McKinney brother, was it Seth?
Seth was there, yeah.
So there's 3, right?
With
3
Nick
Dolphins.
Saban, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3 Aggies right off the top of my head that are Dolphins. That were good Dolphins.
I just
like Flipper. Good Dolphins.
You're a big Flipper fan?
I was when I was like a little boy.
Yeah. That show annoyed me.
Really?
Yeah. I was more of a Lassie guy.
Okay. Yeah, I like Lassie too.
You got to pick one. You can't have both.
You can't have both.
You can't have both.
I guess I would take Lassie. Well, I don't need Lassie. I got Reveille.
Good point. Yep. That started my, that was a gateway to being an Aggie. Watching Lassie, Reveille. All right. You got to pick 2 animals to take to 1775. I don't know. I'm just trying.
I'll tell you, I got them. I would take a cow and I would take a pig
to the slaughterhouse
because they're going to cook them, and they're going to make that succulent brisket and those amazing pork ribs, that jalapeno cheese sausage out of the pig, the brisket, and out of the I don't know, maybe you can find a beef rib in there too out of that cow. I mean, what else is a pig and a cow good for if not eating them?
That's a good point. And you love to eat pigs and cows.
I love to eat pigs and cows and even some turkey when I get it at $17.75 especially.
Every time you mention turkey, you have to look at me like you're thinking that's my thing.
He's a turkey man. Turkey man.
1775 TXBBQ.com. Call them up. 979-492-6241. By the way, they're open Thursday.
Might take a dolphin. I wonder what they can do. Can they smoke a dolphin?
We can ask them. Hey everyone, David Nuño and Olin Buchanan and OB. Typically, we start off the show in this section, and we call it the Holistic Planning Cool
The cool zone. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What do we know about holistic planning?
Well, a lot of cool stuff. For instance, holistic planning can help you with your investments.
I love that.
They can help you with your taxes. So
I don't like paying taxes.
You can get that money from your investments and they keep it. They'll help you keep it away from the government.
Yep.
Not all of it, but more of it. And then they'll even help you with your estate planning. When you're old like me, you got to make sure some of that money you made is there for when you want to retire and just enjoy the rest of your life.
You want your estate to be planned, but they also do something else.
Yeah, well, if you are like, say, a sports fan and you've always wanted to...
Everybody watching us, right?
Yeah. And you want to always dream of being an owner, well, in a certain way you can, because they will broker the deal for you to invest in pro sports.
Yeah, what you need to do is check out investinprosports.com. That's where you can get all the information if you want to invest in a team. I don't know what team. He'd probably try to buy the Cowboys. I try to buy a lot of the Houston teams. Whatever it may be, investinprosports.com. It is holistic planning, and we love hanging out at the Holistic Planning Cool Zone. We're back, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Before we get to 25 and 25, Jason on the YouTube page, I'm assuming a Texas fan.
Okay.
Okay, I'm assuming, but sorry, Jason, I don't know. Out of nowhere, differences, arches in year 3. That's a big deal compared to being a freshman.
True.
Yeah, true. But I don't think that's my reservation. My reservation is I haven't seen it long enough to know what kind of quarterback he is. That doesn't mean he's not going to be great. Doesn't mean he's going to be terrible. Doesn't mean it. But
is he going to be as good or better than Quinn Ewers?
Well, he might end up being better than Quinn Ewers. Does that mean it has to happen this year? Was Quinn Ewers a finished product his first year
I'm just
starting?
saying, last year they played in, I believe, in a de facto national championship game.
Yep.
Okay. De facto, when they played Ohio State, I thought the winner of that game was going to win the national championship. And Sarkisian started Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that.
No, I didn't either. I'm just saying that he felt like Ewers was the better quarterback. Like Steve Spurrier asked about a month ago, is if this Manning kid is that great, why didn't he play last year? And he did play, but you know what I mean, started. Yeah. And when he did start, or when he played significant amount of time, the results were varied. He did not play well against Georgia. No shame there. A lot of quarterbacks don't play well against Georgia. Okay, no shame there. He was very average. I think it was against ULM. He had a couple of interceptions and against a team that they should just blow out. And then he played really well against Mississippi State, which was, this is just a fact, the worst defensive team in the SEC last year. None of that, when he came in certain packages, he was very good as a runner. So I think he's going to be a really good quarterback for Texas. I really do. I just wonder if he's as good as the hype is saying. Guys are saying, some are saying he's the Heisman Trophy favorite already, and Feinbaum says he's the best player since Tim Tebow or something like that.
How often do people with hype, and it doesn't have to be just college football, do they reach the level of hype before we've seen it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, for instance, trying to think, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, he did.
He reached that hype, right?
Pretty fast.
Bryce Young reached the hype. I don't think it was arch level of hype, but I think he reached it. But oftentimes they don't reach it.
Well, yeah. Look, I was working in Austin.
Todd Marinovich.
I was covering the Texas Longhorns when they signed Chris Sims. And, Chris Sims and this. Yeah. And he was never as good as the incumbent quarterback, even though they started him ahead of him.
Ron Powlus. There was a lot of hype for him, right?
Bino Cook said he was going to win 3 Heisman Trophies.
Yeah.
He only missed it by 3.
Who was the other Notre Dame quarterback there was a lot of hype for? Wasn't he?
Jimmy Clausen.
Jimmy Clausen, there you go.
Jimmy Clausen.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
He's okay. He looked like a 7th grader, 8th grader, skinny little kid. He made it to the NFL, played a little bit, got paychecks.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yes, it happens a lot that they don't reach the hype. I'll say this, and it wasn't a fault of his. Reggie McNeil didn't reach the hype.
No.
He was really good.
Didn't reach the hype.
But his coaches and style kept him from reaching the hype, while Vince Young absolutely did.
Eclipsed the hype.
Yeah. And then Johnny Manziel exceeded the hype.
Yep.
As did Tim Tebow. As did Cam Newton.
Yeah.
So,
do you remember the hype for Cam when he got to Auburn, though? Because I don't.
Well, there was hype when he went to Florida.
Yep.
And then he stole a laptop and ended up having to leave school. And he went to Glenn and then showed up at Auburn because Auburn was willing to pay him when you couldn't do that. And some schools weren't and should have.
Garrett Fowler, young Ag here. Did Manziel have this much hype coming to? No.
I had heard of him. And
there was a legend. He was like a high school legend.
Yeah,
right?
High school legend. And, he was already known as Johnny Football and, yes, high school legend.
But not like, there wasn't hype.
Nobody wanted to play him at quarterback.
Right.
Everybody's trying to
Texas passed on him.
Yeah. And had they played, Johnny would have passed on Texas.
Over and over.
Over and over. Yeah, they wanted him to play safety.
Yeah. But hype, again, and we'll hit a break here because we need to do 25 and 25 on the other side. But I just think it is very, like, professionally, the only person that I can think of that reached their hype recently, when I say recent, like LeBron has reached his hype, and people say he was going to be the next Jordan. He's been the closest thing. I'm not a big LeBron guy, as you know, but oftentimes you don't reach what people say.
Oftentimes.
Peyton Manning reached it.
Yeah, because I don't blame him for never beating Florida. I think Tom Brady exceeded whatever.
100% exceeded it.
Yeah, in the NFL, it happens all the time. You just look at all the first players taken as a quarterback that just don't pan out. But it happens a lot in college football. And you know what? I'm not saying it's not going to happen with Arch.
It is a relevant talking point. But again, like I said to start the show, I don't have a problem with Texas being voted number one by the coaches, because who else are you going to put there? I don't mean that as a slight. I have questions about all the teams.
Yeah.
So wherever you end up, you end up.
I think, again, you could have taken 5 or 6 teams, rearrange them, maybe the top 5, even the top 10, and I wouldn't have I'd have minimal issue with it.
If I'm Ohio State, though, I take offense to that, right? If I'm Ryan Day, I'm like, we beat this team. We also have a young quarterback coming in. They're coming into our house, and they're ranked higher than us. Well,
I'm sure he's going to say that, but again, the linebacker that was so good for them last year that made the play on the goal line where he's not there.
He's not there anymore.
You got to look at all the guys that are gone.
Yeah, both sides.
Those running backs.
Yeah, but those wide receivers are pretty.
They have really, especially Jeremiah
they're pretty
Smith,
legit.
But yes.
All right, we'll do 25 and 25 on the other side. We get to, is it number 14 today? Is that right?
It should be.
Yeah, number 14.
Because yesterday was 15.
And today's 14.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow will be
13.
Okay, and the day after?
Apparently 12.
Okay, just making sure we're on the same page. Rollo Insurance, your commercial insurance needs deserve a specialized attention if you are a business owner. The Rollo Insurance Group offers consultation for businesses of all sizes, in particular expertise in family-owned operations. So their independent agents provide an objective guidance on liability, property, workers' comp, and specialized coverage. Every business faces unique risks, from industry-specific liabilities to location-based hazards, and Rollo Insurance, their specialists are going to take time to understand your situation and your vulnerabilities, and also help you follow your growth plan. They'll create a protection strategy that scales with your company, preventing coverage gaps that could threaten everything that you've built. So if your business is evolving, as it's evolving, let the Rollo Insurance Group take care of you and be a valuable resource for risk management and beyond for insurance policies. Find your dedicated business insurance partner at rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That's rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, or call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That's 888-44-ROLLO. All right, we're talking about Burlebo, the heart of Texas. More than an outdoor lifestyle brand, its products created with you in mind. Currently, I'm wearing the performance polo, the Texas maroon and gray. If you look into it, you've got the state of Texas in gray, and you also got it in maroon. It's one of their highest, most popular sales that they have there. It is really nice. Comfort and versatility. You can wear it in any situation. Quick drying, fits the size. But Burlebo, they're rooted in tradition, fueled by passion for the outdoors. Designs high-quality apparel that works just as hard as you do. So whether you're hitting a workout, enjoying a day of fishing, or cheering on your favorite college team, their gear is made for the athlete, the outdoorsman, and the everyday adventure. And it's really nice. I wore this one to church the other day. People talked about it. Really, my kids were like, "Yeah, Dad, you look pretty good today." From athletic shorts to your favorite go-to tees and performance hoodies, they have everything you want. Check out burlebo.com and find your new favorite gear. It's Burlebo, for the athlete, for the outdoors, and for the family. We're back on TexAgs Live. It's time for 25 and 25, presented by La Casa Tequila.
The Casa Tequila.
Pardon, what? What'd you say?
La Casa Tequila.
Okay. Okay. Raised in Aggie land.
C-A-Z-A, right?
C-A-Z-A.
Yeah.
Yeah. Raised in Aggie land.
Yeah.
Rooted in
the SEC.
Yeah. Like you are. You're rooted in the SEC.
I root for one team in the SEC.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you do. Number 14 on the list is
Dalton Brooks.
Let's talk about Dalton Brooks.
Let's
talk about on the field Dalton
Brooks.
Brooks.
He's the best thing to come out of Shiner since that Shiner Bach beer.
I think. What about the Shiner Park place right down the road? I can see you going there, hanging, DJing.
I've never been there as Shiner Park, but my son did get in a fight there once.
Okay. Well, we have that in common. Mine was yesterday. I'm kidding. It's like a week ago. All right. Why should Dalton Brooks be one of the top 25 players on this list?
Well, first of all, he's good. He's explosive. He has a world of potential in front of him. I think Dalton Brooks is another really good reason to believe that the defense will be better this year. And you say, well, why do you say that?
But why?
He played last year, and I'll tell you why.
Tell me why.
Because.
But I ask you why, Olin Buchanan.
And I'll tell you why, David Nuño. Because last year was his first year as a starter. Guys are typically better in their second year when they've been a starter. Look at Torian York. Look at Edge Cooper.
Yep.
He's in his second year as a starter. You know, he learned things last year, like maybe, don't
relax
leave with the helmet so much. But he'll be better, I believe. And A&M needs to get better at safety. And I think he'll be a better player at safety than he was last year. He wasn't bad last year. Look, he was second on the team with 59 tackles last year. Had an interception against against USC. He was a good, productive player last year. Look for him, like a lot of players, to take a big step forward this year.
I expect a huge step from him. He's won at the high school level.
He's going to play in the NFL.
Won at the high school level,
he did.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Big time, multiple times.
He shined.
He was a shine. Yeah. And why did we do the same joke? And I followed you up like I did the copycat of it. Anyway, look, he is. When you draw up what you want an SEC safety to look like, I think you draw him up.
I mean, he's what, about 6'1", about 2, probably about 210. And he's fast. He doesn't mind getting physical either. No. He's not gonna shy away from anybody. So he's a physical guy. He's a good sized guy. He's fast. He just needs to be experienced. You know what? Now he's experienced. Against
Arkansas, he had 7 tackles, including 2 tackles for loss, 6 yards lost in that one. Against Mississippi State, career high 9 tackles. Against Texas, he had, 10 tackles in that game? That's what this says.
Really?
And then, I don't think that's right. 3 tackles, including a solo sack against Auburn. 3 tackles against LSU. So, look, what he brings to the table.
10 tackles against Texas. 9 unassisted.
9 unassisted.
9 unassisted tackles.
Heck yeah.
Good player.
Yeah.
Good player getting better.
Good player getting better in an area that we need to be better.
Absolutely. Dalton Brooks, this year is your time to shine.
Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. We got a couple of texts coming in. We got Bill. We got Brian. I think we got an 848. So, Ava Davis, why don't we start off with Brian Thompson?
Oh, sorry. I went to the other one.
It's okay.
Okay. Sorry. He says, hi, Nuño.
Hi. Hey, Brian, how are you, sir? Good to see you, man.
Prize Picks has Marcel at 2,349.5 passing yards for the season. Do you think he goes over or under, Brian?
Just over 200 yards passing per game, right?
I said, how much was it?
2,300, almost 2,400 yards passing.
He's going to be over that. He's going to be over. I'll tell you now. Take the over.
Here's what I do, OB.
I think he'll be closer to 3,000 than he will be 2,400.
I think so, too. And I don't allow myself in the preseason to look at history of the quarterback position at A&M, 21, 22, 23, 24, of what has happened at the position to allow me to not project stats.
Yeah, you can always say if healthy, but no one ever predicts that. All preseason predictions are based on
health.
If you're going to be there all year.
So I would say, based on health, I would say it's going to go over, and I agree with you, closer to 3,000. I don't think 3,400, 3,500. Let's hope that they get 13, 14 games on the season to get there.
Yeah. even 16.
Ava?
Or 15. Yes, Ava.
Bill in Austin says he has A&M higher and Texas lower.
I responded to Bill and I said, why?
Yeah.
Give me a reason. And in fact, I'll open it up to the audience. Give us a reason, if you believe that, why Texas should be lower and why A&M should be higher.
And if the reason is, I'm an Aggie.
That's the reason, right?
Good enough for us.
Like, can I give you a reason for A&M to be higher? I guess. I mean, sure, but that's projecting something that I don't know. Could I give you a reason for Texas to be lower? Yeah. I mean, I can come up with some things, but I think they're all fair right now. Based on the information we have, based on history, based on everything, it's fine. It's whatever. You gotta go prove it.
I think you can give reasons for Texas A&M to be higher, and they're legitimate, and you can but the same reasons you can make for them being lower,
right?
And they're legitimate because again, those questions, especially on defense, have to be answered. It depends on which way they're answered.
And there are questions on offense that have to be answered.
Yeah, but not as many.
Yeah,
not as many. I mean, I think Casey Concepcion. There's no question about him. I mean, he's already proven it elsewhere. And then we saw the offensive line, the way they played in the running game, and we saw enough. I'll say right now, we know that A&M has a good quarterback. The question is how good,
right?
And that's what he's going to answer this year.
Yep. Ava, there's one more for you.
Yes. The 848 number says, how many SEC football teams would be 10-2 if they played Notre Dame's football schedule? And will Texas A&M be better with a running game takes more time off the clock?
They have a good running game.
Yeah.
Notre Dame schedule. Okay, going to Miami.
Okay, let's pick a random Ole Miss. We're Ole Miss. We're looking at Ole Miss's schedule.
Okay.
We're taking Ole Miss's team against the schedule.
So we're going to keep an SEC schedule. I think his point was a non-SEC schedule.
That's what I'm saying. Against Ole Miss
versus
the Notre Dame schedule.
So do I pick Ole Miss to go to Miami and win week 1 of the season? I would say no. This Ole Miss team. Last year's Ole Miss team, yes.
All right.
Well, what say you, OB?
You know, I've never been that high on Miami, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I still think A&M should have beat them that day. You know,
shoulda, coulda.
Yeah, but you beat yourself more than they beat you. I'm going to take Ole Miss.
Okay. Does Ole Miss? So then they go home.
Okay.
So Ole Miss is A&M now. So Ole Miss now goes to play Notre Dame.
There's the loss.
Okay. I think A&M with an look. Do I think A&M should beat Arkansas on the road? Yes. Do I think A&M hosting Boise State would win? Yeah, I do. I think A&M would beat this year's Boise State team.
Yeah, Boise State. People still think of Boise State as that team that beat Oklahoma.
Yeah.
15 years ago or however long it was.
You know, the hard part about this exercise is, though, like, we don't know this year's team yet. So I use last year's team as a barometer, and I'm like, does A&M at home last year beat USC?
Well, I think they should have beat them there, but once again, bowl games hardly count because of all the guys that aren't invested and that don't play. Just go down the schedule.
Okay, I'll tell you. I'll tell you the games. We'll start from the top. Okay. So A&M playing at Miami.
I would suspect that A&M's the better team, but okay, I'll play your game and say Miami wins.
Because A&M hasn't beat a ranked team on the road yet, okay? A&M at Notre Dame. So they already have that schedule. Okay. So
I'm going to take, I don't know, I got to wait, but I'm going to be stubborn. And okay, we're going to take Notre Dame. I'm going to.
Okay, so 0-2 right now?
0-2.
Oh, man, I hate the schedule.
Okay.
Purdue.
Win.
Arkansas.
Win.
Boise State.
Win.
NC State.
Win.
USC.
I think it's a win.
Boston College.
Win.
Navy.
Win.
Pittsburgh.
Win.
Syracuse.
Win.
Stanford.
Oh, big win.
So 10-2 on a 10-win game win streak.
And we're not giving A&M any. The only game I think mentioned that you said, well, maybe, okay, you got to just think about more is USC.
You don't have to think about Boise State?
I don't think so. Again, this is not the Boise State that beat Georgia back in like 06 or 07. Or,
you don't think Genty would have a field day?
Genty's not playing.
I know, but I'm just saying, do you think he would last year's Boise State?
Oh, yeah. But you know what? I think A&M would have moved the ball up and down the field on Boise State. They're really good, they're a really good group of 5 team. Or I guess it's group of 6 now. They're really good. But they're not that program that Chris Peterson had going.
Yeah. But a 10-game win streak with that schedule to close out the season?
Well, I guess the point is, though, I think that A&M is a team that everybody's picking like no higher than 5th, some as low as like 12th in the SEC.
Right.
And I'd look at that Notre Dame schedule and I'd say, and I'd try to be as objective as possible. And the worst I could come up with is 9-3.
Yeah. But you know what? You signed up for the SEC, and this is what you got to do.
But that wasn't the question.
Right.
The question was how many SEC teams
would be
win
10-2
games with no.
Ole Miss would probably win 10 games in that schedule.
At least half.
Right.
At least 8, I would think.
And we played this game 2 weeks ago on the Indiana schedule.
Yeah.
And plenty of teams would have been a 10-win team with that Indiana schedule. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll close out the Go Hour next on TexAgs Live. So we got a press conference here shortly, and because we're in the media, sometimes we get some perks.
Well, they're going to they're going to lay out a spread of all these different foods for us to sample, so we can talk about them and write about them because they're going to be available at Kyle Field this football season.
Yep. And
a lot of these you will not eat because
I might eat some
because I there's things. All right, Elotes Bravos is which I've never been to.
Elotes Bravo.
They're got 4 things that they're going to. Okay, smoky roasted corn with butter, mayo, tortilla cheese, chili, and lime in a convenient cup.
No, this is convenient.
It is. That's what it says.
So kind of. Though.
So you can have.
Will I have that?
Yeah.
I don't think I will.
No, you won't.
But it sounds delicious.
There's
but
no broccoli in it. He ain't eating it.
Okay.
They have their signature chips topped with elote, cheese, mayo, sour cream, lime. The mayo.
It sounds delicious. I'll probably pass today.
Oh, here's one for you though.
Okay.
We'll take the Fruta cup with the fresh watermelon, mango, pineapple, or melon.
Okay.
And you can give some seasoning, chili seasoning.
I don't know if I'm big into chili on my
food. My wife would be.
Yeah, I'm not big into chili on my.
So that's one you can have.
Well, I just said I'm not sure if I want to have spice on my fruit.
Okay, but you don't have to. You can.
Oh, you can. Okay, then yeah, I like fruit.
And then they have some beverages. Okay, Red's Ice House.
Okay.
They're going to give you the meat lovers flatbread with the mild Italian sausage, applewood, bacon, pepperoni, onions, peppers, and olives.
Sounds like something
Take
I would
off
have.
the olives, and I'm all over that.
Yeah, it sounds like something I might try.
And then they have a classic pepperoni flatbread, smoked brisket po' boy.
That sounds good.
20 hours smoked brisket.
It's smoked for 20 hours?
Pickles.
Okay, I'm out.
Oh, you don't like pickles?
Yeah, I'm out.
Okay, porters.
I like
Char
porters.
grilled and delicious cuts of hand-carved tenderloin.
Give it to me.
Now,
Into my veins.
Wait, I got to say this. I have to decide whether it's delicious. You can't just tell me it's delicious.
But you've been there.
And it was delicious.
Okay. Is it like the football team? You got to see it.
Yeah.
You got to see it.
I got to eat it. Hickory roasted chicken with peppercorn butter glaze. Butter glaze.
What's in the glaze?
Butter. Peppercorn butter glaze.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, here's one I have to have. White oak smoked bourbon glazed pork tenderloin. I mean, from White Oak. Any roughneck would have the
Wait,
the
did
white.
I hear? Did you and Louis do this same segment?
I don't know. Here's Parmesan garlic broccoli.
Wait, say that again.
Parmesan garlic broccoli.
No, I'm out.
And then Juanita's Tex-Mex. You got the melted hatch chili, golden queso, guacamole, the street tacos, chicken or steak.
I love eating tacos in the streets.
And then, of course, what you really want for you is the Mexico City chopped salad, finely chopped greens, a little fajita chicken, maybe some smoked bacon. You might leave that out. Some Mexican cheese, cherry tomatoes, and optional Serrano ranch dressing.
You can have as much of this as you want.
I imagine there'll be plenty of that.
Will there be a convenient cup for all these?
I think that one you just got to do bobbing for apples. It's bobbing for lettuce, bobbing for salad.
I got to see it.
You got to eat it.
Thank you, Obi.
It's delicious.
When we come back on TexAgs Live, Obi's friend, Chris Lee, Southeastern 16. He's not eating. All right, guys, let's talk about some new partners, Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. They're Aggie owned and operated. They are an mobile IV hydration company that was founded back in 2024. I met with Sheldon and Danny over the last week, and they're awesome people. They really know what they're doing. They're proud to serve Bryan College Station with awesome services like IV hydration, Botox, and even some weight loss options. Whether you're looking for a quick boost of hydration or dehydration preventative, they can tailor an IV cocktail specific to your needs. And on a busy weekend, I know some of you guys might be partying a little bit too much. If that's the case, an IV can be one of the easiest ways to ensure you're receiving all those necessary vitamins and minerals that make you feel better. Their overall mission is to bring a more personalized and accessible wellness option to the broader range of clientele here in the Bryan College Station and Brazos Valley area. To book an appointment or inquire about it, just call them up or text them. 979-217-1561. Again, it's Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. Check them out. It's our friends at Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. Sorry for not being cultured, Nick. What am I listening to?
That is For Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica.
Oh, okay. I know Metallica.
Probably my favorite song by them.
Okay, yeah, Metallica. I should have known this. Chris Lee is going to be mad at me. TexAgs Live, we're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. We go to the Buppy's Catering Hotline. We are joined by Chris Lee of Southeastern 16. He's at a Vanderbilt football practice, I believe. Chris, good morning, buddy.
Hey, speaking of music and ambiance, you may get a little bit of that here in this call. I'm actually at Vanderbilt's practice. I think they're the only ones that actually any open practice to media. So watching that from the stadium today, you'll hear some occasional music and stuff, but we'll try to get through it.
Yes, sir. Hey, so I wanted to start things off with the lowest hanging fruit. Your thoughts on the coaches poll? Any major takeaways?
Yeah, I think in the SEC, to me, there's a clear top four in my mind. Will it probably work out that way? It rarely does, but I think everybody's got. I think the order that the coaches went was Texas, Georgia, Alabama, and LSU. I think they were 1, 2, 8, and 9. Don't have it in front of me.
Yep.
But I'll tell you what. The more that I look at rosters and experience, and to think of some of the dynamics, especially with the offensive coordinator change at Alabama, and maybe a reboot at quarterback. I think Jay Miller did some good things, but I don't know. I wonder if they're better off with the fresh start with Ty Simpson. I guess we'll find out here in a few weeks. But I'm starting to think that Alabama is being slept on a little bit as much as Alabama can be slept on. I just get a feeling there's a lot of things set up for that to work in year two under Kalen DeBoer a little better. And Georgia, look, you never write off Kirby Smart's teams, but I think that was the thing at Media Day that 54% of their players are first and second year players. Now, I don't know how many of those guys slot in there too deep, and maybe not a lot, but that's just kind of a young place to start with. I mean, like a lot of other teams are improving at quarterback. So that's the one that I'm just wondering if we'll look back to the end of the season and say maybe they got overprojected for reasons around youth and inexperience at quarterback that were easy to guess. But she never dealt Kirby Smart. LSU is intriguing. I think anytime you lose 2 first-round tackles, that's a little bit of a red flag, but they've got talent. They killed it in the portal, and I really love their skill position players. I mean, they just have got speed all over the field. It's going to be a headache to reckon with. And in my opinion, the best quarterback in the league. I think you can debate that, but I'm going to go with the guy that's proven the most, and that's Garrett Nussmeier. And I think Texas at 1 is probably the appropriate starting point. Apologies to your audience. I get it because of all the returning talent, the Arch Manning factor. But, that was a team that also is left a little bit to be desired, I think. When I've watched them in person, it feels like they didn't always quite play to their ceiling. So that's a thing I've got in mind, too. I don't know. I think, honestly, guys, I think it's going to be a very interesting year. I think parity's been the thing for a couple of years. I expect that to be the thing now. But I think that the thing that stood out to me in the SEC is Alabama at 8 feels a little low with what they've got coming back, especially in the trenches.
Chris, when I look at it, I'm like, all right, look, Texas being 1, I have no problem with it. You got to give me a reason why they shouldn't be. Alabama, they got some questions because I haven't seen Ty Simpson. But again, I think all the teams, I value returning production more than I value transfer portal of guys or young players who haven't really played yet. That doesn't mean, though, those players won't live up to their hype. Arch might be the second coming. I don't know. But I have no problem with Texas being number 1 because you got to make an argument of who should be above them. But if I'm Ohio State, who actually was number 2, I take a little. I'm a little upset about it. We've got the wide receiver room. We're the returning national champions. We also have a new quarterback. But again, I can't make an argument for why a team should be better.
Speaking of those top of Texas, Georgia, Alabama, one thing that I noticed is an aside, and this tails on what you just said about returning production, David. I mean, I think that when you look at the rosters, you look at the 2 deep, I feel like Alabama, Texas, and Georgia, probably more than the rest of the heavyweights in the league, have done a better job of building from within and keeping roster continuity and keeping backups, waiting their turn 1, 2, 3 years at those schools to get a better shot this year. I'll be very interested to see where that translates this year because I think all things considered, continuity is important. And that is one thing that with Texas, as you said, they've got going for them for sure.
So I found A&M at 21 fair. They've got to prove a lot to me. I think they can, but I think starting the season at 21 seems very fair. What did you think about A&M there at 21?
I think it's the right range. I mean, I look at them and I really love what they've got in the trenches. They've got a lot of returning linemen, maybe more than anybody in the SEC, maybe in college football. I'd have to check that against everyone else, but that's the thing that I always like is continuity along the line with guys that are good. Getting Moss back, who was the heart and soul of their team or that offense a year ago, is a big deal. They've got some good defenders. Again, it is a team with a lot of returning experience. I think the question for them, and Marcel Reed mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, it's that people have questions about his passing game. I think he averaged, a little bit under 7 yards an attempt. He'd probably like that number, a yard and a half higher. And look, that's something you can work around. Their identity, I think, is going to be on the ground, and he can run it pretty well too. But I think that's the one thing that, if that turns out better this year than it has before, I think you can absolutely make an argument that they're higher. But I have a feeling that's the concern that's got them ranked where they are.
If you ask most A&M fans and analysts, myself included, I think the defense comes up as a bigger question than the offense. Look, I agree that Marcel needs to throw the ball deep more often, and we need to see more from the offense. But the defense lost a bunch of games last year, and I think oftentimes when we're doing this preseason, thinking of where they should be, this and that, we think about A&M's offense. But really, the reason A&M lost games is because they couldn't tackle. They gave up the most explosive plays. They had leads late in games that they floundered. So to me, it's really about the defense. And with Coach Elko taking over the defense, I'm kind of, I don't want to say bullish, but I feel better about where that's trending.
Yeah, I mean, they've certainly got some really good returning players on all the levels of defense. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't have the numbers in front of me. They had trouble maybe a little bit against the run at times compared to what you think they would have had. If I'm wrong on that, feel free to correct me.
You're right.
But I mean, yeah, but it is a defensive coach. I mean, again, you're too sometimes, especially in this day and age of portal and continuity. And Mike Elko's got a lot of respect from people and did a good job at Duke. And, that's been where he's excelled, So I think that's something to watch, too, as I mentioned with Alabama, with the kind of a reshuffle at the offensive coaching staff and a fresh start with some new guys. I think that's something worth watching, too, because it did feel like a year ago with all that talent, and, of course, some of it's gone to the NFL now, they did leave a little bit to be desired compared to what I thought they could do.
Talking to Chris Lee here on the Bumpy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Chris, let's talk Tennessee, a team that I thought, look, I don't know if I would have not put them in my top 25, but I don't know if they're really going to be the 18th best team in the country, right? It's a preseason poll, but Tennessee's a team I struggle with. You're close to that, to Knoxville. What do you think about Tennessee this year with all their question marks?
Gosh, my thoughts on them are all over the place. And I'll give you probably where I start is with what you know, and that Josh Heupel's done a tremendous job every year that he's been there. I would say that he has met or exceeded, and in some cases exceeded by good bad expectations. So I always start with what a coach is able to do, and that's a positive check mark. He's got an offensive system that seems to translate year to year, despite whoever's running it. And like they always play through running backs. It seems like the guy that waits his turn always excels in that system, and they've got a guy this year that's got a chance to do that. But and they've got a lot of continuity too, especially got a lot of dudes back on defense. But at the same time, I always look for little cracks and little things. And, of course, the Nico drama was probably the biggest off-season storyline in the SEC, or certainly one of them. I think, they probably had to cut bait and move on. Did they get better at quarterback? I really don't think so. You look across the roster, there's not a lot of known offensive playmakers. You lost a lineman or two there, I think, that had started before. And I think you start also looking at other things. Like right now, when guys get paid and guys can transfer, everybody's got one foot out the door or reason to be upset. And I think the Brew Carter incident with maybe their most talented defensive player, just not showing up for stuff. And then what do we do with this? And I don't know. It just feels like to me, I think Josh Heupel's done a really good job of running a good program and keeping continuity. And sometimes it just happens to you, no matter how well you do at that or not. But I mean, when you've got chemistry stuff in the air, when you've got a lot of guys gone, when you've downgrading a quarterback, again, I could see a world in which Josh Heupel coaches it up and we're saying, okay, that ranking was deserved and maybe then some, especially with that schedule. But I've also named several ways in which it could go wrong too. And to me, they are just, I don't know, wild card's the right word, but maybe something in that range.
Chris, how hard is it, not only in this era of college football, but when a team has a schedule like Oklahoma has, and a team has a schedule like Florida, to not allow that to kind of, I look at where Florida's ranked, I'm like, yeah, I mean, they could be really good, but they got murderer's row, as does Oklahoma.
Yeah, and I think to Florida, that's kind of why I'm big on Billy Napier. I mean, they had that start a year ago. I remember the A&M game where they just looked dreadful. Credit to A&M there, but the buzzards were circling at that point, and they were able to pull that out of the fire, and not just that, but find reasons for people to be optimistic. One is your quarterback, but I think their defense was really underrated, and boy, they got a ton of those guys back. They found a pass rush, which hadn't been a thing that they found a year ago, and so I think it feels like the program is headed in the right direction. The schedule, as you mentioned, is brutal, and then you've got the health questions with Lagway. So, to me, they're an interesting team. And who was the other one you mentioned? I'm sorry.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's another one too. That, honest to God, I don't know what to make of, because I feel like I was big on Oklahoma last year. The injuries hit them. It just was what it was. I don't know that anybody was going to pull that season out of the fire. And then Brent Venables, with all that, did beat Alabama, which I look at, okay, that's a good thing. You kept your locker room together despite the adversity and pulled off a big win, playing a team in a game of significance that most people didn't think was going to happen. On the other hand, and I do like a lot of what they did in the portal. People love John Mateer. I know the athleticism was there, but he's not a guy that's had a ton of experience. And you look at his game log from last year, when he played Boise and some of the teams that Washington State played, and I'm not bagging on them, it was a tough situation. They had to cobble the schedule together against whatever they could get at that point, but they weren't playing teams that you're going to see in the SEC. It felt like his production dipped in some of the better games, and so I'm a little more hesitant to anoint him, the next big thing at Oklahoma, till I see how it goes against other teams. Defensively, they're pretty stout in the front line. They were pretty good there a year ago. I've got questions about them because, like Tennessee, I can give you reasons it goes right, and I can certainly give you reasons that it goes wrong.
Talking to Chris Lee here on TexAgs Live. Chris, let's focus on the opposite end of the spectrum. Missouri, another year with a great schedule, SEC standards, and a team that's reloading, if not rebuilding. They have an opportunity, though, to kind of change the trajectory of their program, even though they've had a lot of success. But if they do well this year again, that's like multiple years of Drink getting it done, and people won't be thinking about the schedule a year from now.
Yeah, look, if I had to name a sleeper team, I think it's them, and certainly the schedule helps them as it does Tennessee. I think Missouri it's crazy. They don't play a road game until, October the 18th, and they only play 4 total. 8 of their first 10 are at home, which sets you up really well for playing games of significance if you're trying to get the playoffs. We did some bold predictions last week, and it's not necessarily what you think is going to happen, but it is, okay, if I squint a little bit, I can give you the reasons why. And mine was if they make the college football playoff. And a lot of that was the schedule, but also look at them. They've got some good returning offensive linemen. They love their defense. They really did some work in the portal up front. The secondary maybe isn't as experienced with continuity like it's been in the past, but I think it's still pretty good. Talking to people connected to that situation, Drinkwitz loves his defense. Feels like it's the best one they've got. I think the quarterback position is where their altitude is going to be determined. Is it Bo Cubula, who, when he was at Penn State, was pretty good in limited duty. I think it was 9 touchdowns and a pick, and he ran the ball over 6 yards a pop. So those are things that you like, but it was in limited duty. He's not played in games of significance like he's going to play in. There's been some talk that Sam Horn, who just signed a $500,000 contract with the Dodgers, which makes that interesting. Now he's playing SEC quarterback and taking hits. So there's been some talk that Horn could win the job. I think wherever they settle at quarterback, if that turns out really, really well, I think you can look up and say, hey, Missouri had a lot of pieces there. By the way, added a really good running back in the portal in Ahmad Hardy and a good receiver in the Coleman kid from Mississippi State. I think there's a lot of reasons to think that they could be really good this year. I think people are sleeping on them. And the schedule is very conducive to them having a playoff-type season.
Talking to Chris Lee here on TexAgs Live. What about the team you're watching right now? Does Vanderbilt, can they do what they did last year again, considering there's now film on Pavia? There's, and he's, I don't want to say he's put a target on his back because I don't think he's been a bad dude in his commentary, but people are aware of his game.
Yeah, look, they're not sneaking up on anybody next year. That's for sure. Between what they did in beating Alabama and also him being all over the media, making bold statements, certainly he's given some other people some, I don't know, ammunition because he hasn't said anything really inflammatory, but he's very confident. But I will tell you this, a couple things are interesting. People talk about knowing that offense and being able to figure it out. That may be a factor, but and he's admitted it in the offseason, from the Kentucky game on when Deion Walker fell on him, he was not nearly the same guy physically. And when he had time to get healthy for the bowl game against Georgia Tech, he was great. He accounted for 5 touchdowns and I think no turnovers and looked a lot more like the Diego Pavia we saw the first half of the season. I think the biggest priority in the offseason for them was finding an offensive line that could protect him because they weren't very good there a year ago. It's new guys, and they've got to get used to playing with each other. But they have probably, I'm going to say, I would guess they've got more guys that have started ball games at places on their offensive line than anybody in the league. Now, a lot of those are FCS and lower level, but they are bigger, they are more experienced. I could argue that they are at least as good at every position group on the team, if not better, and certainly better in some. I feel like the surrounding cast for them is better this year, but the schedule is also brutal. They play at least 3 teams, and 4 if you include Missouri, and maybe even 5 if you put Tennessee in there that could go to the playoff. And that's not a place you want to be with Vanderbilt's schedule. Having said that, they played those teams close a year ago. Even the ones they didn't win, LSU and Texas, they were going to score, down the stretch. And I think it's the final score, actually. So it's a team that there's a lot of variables there. But I think if you can keep Pavia healthy again, they can get back to a bowl. And I think their chances of doing that with what they've got blocking for him are better this year. Plus, I think they will manage his workload better. You don't want him carrying the ball 196 times or whatever it was a year ago, and I think they know that too.
Chris, great stuff, man. Thanks for making time, buddy.
Anytime. Thank you.
See you, Chris Lee, Southeastern 16 on the Buppy's Catering Hotline. We'll hit a break. Ben Malena on the other side. Looking forward to chatting with Ben. When it comes to preserving your farm or your ranch's legacy, it's not just about telling people what you remember or capturing pretty pictures and posting them on Facebook or Instagram. It's about transferring those values that your land had, and you can do that in a documentary form for the future generations. That's what Chance McClain does with his staff at Heritage Films. They have the Farm and Ranch Films. Part of it, they transfer the values you built your operation on to the generations who are going to inherit it. And Chance has interviewed thousands of people across America, and he knows this, that these aren't just businesses. They're blueprints for building character, and that's why he loves telling these ranch stories and these family business stories from the timber farmers thinking in 100-year cycles, which they do, by the way. Also to the cattle ranchers preserving their traditions. Farm and Ranch Films are going to capture the wisdom that your grandkids and their grandkids are going to need. Visit yourheritagefilm.com. That is yourheritagefilm.com. Click on Farm and Ranch or call them up at 713-893-8341. It is Heritage Films. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Buc-ee's Catering Hotline and chat with one guy that I loved watching play. Ben Malena joining us here on the program. Ben, good morning, man. How you been?
What's going on? How you doing?
Hey, man, thanks so much for joining us. So we've been kind of looking back and talking to former Aggie football players and just getting a vibe for their time at A&M and then trying to project forward. I want to go back to early days on the reason you picked Texas A&M.
Just was a dream opportunity for me. Coming from where I come from, suburb, Cedar Hill, Texas, south of Dallas. Always having a, dream to, play football at the next level, outside of high school. And with just Texas A&M, the prestige university, of course, the decorated football history. My father, told me a lot about it. Watched him growing up. Just never had a thought that, an opportunity would come like that for somebody like me. So once the opportunity did come, of course, obviously just not for the football, but just for the alumni, the location, close to home, the school, and the network that was going to come following.
So you said you didn't think that could happen for someone like you. What do you mean by that?
Well, just again, just for different dreams and different goals that you do have coming up as athletes, you do see, there are millions of athletes. And you think about the percentages of, young men that actually get an opportunity to go beyond with their playing career, not alone D1, not alone, SEC, the highest level of competition. So absolutely, you wish for those things and you hope for those things, but when those things do come true, in a situation like this, I grabbed onto it the first opportunity that I got.
Was it difficult your first year and a half, kind of waiting your turn?
No, not at all. For me, in my position, the backs that we had on the staff, my development of who I was as a player, I understood that I had to come in and I had to develop. So I didn't rush my time to try to become the best player that I could be. I loved watching the guys that came before me. We came, hopefully it'll be 2 Hall of Famers in Texas A&M history, and Christian Michael and Cyrus Gray. Those are 2 program legends, toting the peel. And I was in the weight room with them every day. I was in the film room with them, studying with them every day. So it gave me a great opportunity to develop. So when an opportunity was called for me, I was ready. I was ready mentally. I was ready physically. I was ready, just within the different nuances of growing up, being an adult, being a better student, just all around that made the transition for me when I got into the field very seamless.
Ben, I think we should capture that, post it on social media, because I think some of that is missing in today's college sports, right? Because the ability to transfer, which is great, I get it, and for other reasons to leave a program, I think there's a lot of character building in waiting and also learning from guys doing it at an extremely high level. Even if you think you're ready, there's still some growth involved in watching dudes that, as you mentioned, are A&M legends.
Absolutely. I mean, you think about it, everything that you do, you have to develop, don't you? It doesn't matter what it is. If you're, family, if you're a father, if you're in business, you have to take that time to learn to develop anything. And just in my situation, and I do see the culture of how it is now. I mean, it is what it is. It's, practically professional sports and it's a business. But when you're really talking about really in this sport, especially football, man, it's a big man's game, very physical. You're playing at 100 miles an hour. You better be sure that you do get an opportunity to get developed, and you take a year or 2 to get more into professional conditioning, to sharpen up your mind, to maybe learn the playbook more so you can play faster with better instincts. I mean, it's always going to pay off in the end run.
I know the result wasn't what you wanted, but if I have my memory correct, your first start came against Texas the last time that A&M played Texas in the Big 12, November 24th of 2011. What do you remember about leading up to that game and understanding that your role was going to increase?
Well, we were suffering through, the art of attrition, how we do in this sport. And I was the next man up pretty much during that time, last time of the season. Crazy season, if y'all can remember back 2011. I think we started top 10 AP. Had all the talent in the world, but, just a crazy year coming into the end of the year. And really, for me personally, very exciting, of course.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is my first time having an opportunity to play. I essentially had to wait 2 years to get on the field, rightfully so. But, it gave me an opportunity to finally, show that, hey, I can compete on this level at a top level, at a starter level. I know I'm not the best or whatever, but I can do everything at a high and an efficient level on this level. I know I can. And it's against the University of Texas. You know what I mean? Like, of course, bro. Like, I'm turned up. I'm amped up. Of course, we didn't get to win that night, but what it did for me personally in my career, it solidified in my mind and it solidified in my heart that, man, I could do this on a level and actually be an asset to a team.
Talking to Ben Malena here on TexAgs Live. Let's talk 2012 because, fortunately for me, the most fun I've ever had covering a team, an A&M team. I was covering it from Houston at that point. We haven't had many seasons like that. How much fun was it for you to be a part of that year?
I mean, think about it. Has it been a year other like that ever since? I mean, A&M has had great success. I'm proud of A&M, especially with the recruiting, man. The type of young men that's coming into this campus these days is a lot different from how it was when I was there. Recruiting all nationwide and stuff like that. But when you're talking about energy, when you're talking about, making dormant A&M fans, just the storylines, the storm that we came through, especially being in the SEC. A&M's going to the SEC. They're going to lose every game, right? I mean, I'm trying to find the words to really put it in, and hopefully, you can help me with that. But I'm talking about just even to this day, bro, even to this day, like people talk about, I can't go really anywhere. People always talk about something, whether they're asking about the QB, whether they're asking about, the coach, whether they're asking about different times. Alabama, of course, going there, bro, like, maybe for another 10 years. And hopefully we do get to experience that from, especially my side being A&M fans, of a type of electrifying moment that it did to the university, the fan base, the alumni, former players, lettermen. Truly, once in a generation.
Ben, I want to ask you about the Duke bowl game, halftime, the vibe, and then the switch that was turned on.
Man, I always say about that Duke game, Duke was a good team, but, that was just a crazy game. Like, that particular team was together for most of us for the last 2 years, pretty much. And just the ups and downs, the back and forths, kind of like a video game, kind of like, almost somebody playing on rookie mode and teams just going back and forth. Can't nobody stop nobody. But, to captivate that season and really to captivate that era with those players, really with a slam dunk like that, that's the right way to send off that generation.
Let me close out with this. Coach Elko's trying to build a monster here. Last year did not end the way we all wanted it to. That's understood. But I feel like they're trending in the right direction. What do you think about the current group of Aggies and that run game when healthy, how dominant they can be?
I came last year to LSU, all black, right? I was in the building on the sideline. And just what I was talking about earlier, I said, hey, man, these boys looking different. You know what I mean? And what I mean is just a level of just sheer talent that is able to come into A&M now is a lot different than what it is. And just based off that alone, that's pretty much what you need to be able to compete in this day and age, man. You need all-star rosters. You know, you need caliber players in each position. They don't have to be ranked or whatever, whoever that they are. It's whatever needs to be put on the field, the type talent. And that's what A&M have just by off the eye test alone. So you know what comes in after that. You know, it's the ebbs and flows of the season. It's the emotions. It's health. You know, it's execution. It's coaching. It's player accountability. You know, a lot goes into, you know, this game and this season and the ebbs and flows of it. But, you know, with a staff like that, of course, A&M has all the resources to control those things. And if they can, everybody that line up against them gonna have a tough time for sure.
Ben, I've really enjoyed this. I hope we can do it during the season, man.
Absolutely. Give me a call back.
You got it, my man. Ben Malena there.
Yeah.
See you, man. Gig 'em on the Buppy's Catering Hotline. Appreciate his conversation. We'll hit a break here. We'll come back. Ryan McGee of ESPN next on TexAgs Live. Getting closer and closer. It's TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Continuing the college football conversation, we go back to the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Ryan McGee of ESPN joining us here on the program. Ryan, what's up, buddy? Going once, going twice. Ryan, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, how you been?
I'm good. We're about to start our big ESPN preseason college football seminar, which, I started working at ESPN to not have to sit in meetings. So I'm going to do that for the next 3 days. And then we start getting on airplanes and going to football stadiums.
What happens in these seminars? Is it kind of like a breakdown of team? Like, help me understand what happens here.
Well, it's actually pretty cool because it's the only time all year that we're all in the same room. Like, I think everybody thinks that, it's like a Sports Center commercial. We're all in the newsroom together and all that stuff. But the reality is, this is the only time College Game Day and SEC Nation and Marty and McGee and radio and the live broadcast teams, it's the only time we'll all be in the same place at the same time. So it's cool. I mean, and honestly, the social aspect of it is the best because, once the gun goes off, we all literally go in 1,000 different directions. And there's even, folks that we don't ever get to see regionally, the West Coast people and the Pacific Northwest people, and we're all in the same room. And what it is basically just talking about, they'll bring in Steve Shaw to talk about rules changes, and they'll bring in, they'll get all of our former quarterbacks who are analysts to talk about what they, and they'll get all of our defensive linemen who are analysts talk about what they think they'll see defensively. So that's really what it is. And just, they roll out all the graphics. We get to see before the season starts of what all the graphics look like and what all the promotional material looks like. And so it gets you juiced up and it gets you ready to go. But it is literally the only time we all see each other and we shake hands and we say good luck. And then we see each other again at the national championship game.
Ryan, follow me here. I look at this coaches poll that came out yesterday and I think to myself, like, this is college football today where, we've always had these. Everybody's guessing, right? There's no doubt about it. But in this year's guessing, there's so much parity. And yeah, Texas is one. I get it. Yeah, but Georgia's here. Like, we don't know anything, do we?
No. And anyone who tells you they know, we might have a general idea, but the reality is we don't know. I mean, if you had come to me a year ago and said, I'm going to go to Atlanta and I'll be covering a national championship game between Ohio State and Notre Dame, I would have, asked you what medications you were on, and you probably said there's no way. Ohio State has a chance. No way Notre Dame's playing for national championship. That's way ahead of schedule, and there they were. And so, yeah, and if you had told me the teams that we would have in that expanded playoff, that we're going to have SMU. SMU is going to make a run at an ACC championship. No way that's going to happen, right? I mean, and it was awesome. And so, yeah, that's the best part of it is I love the unpredictability of it. And I say this all the time. I root for chaos. People always think we're rooting for teams, right? Oh, you went to school here, your dad went to school there, or, whatever else. So I know you. I don't care who wins the games. I want chaos. That's why the 2007 college football season, if I could, I would just sit and rewatch the entire thing. And what I've loved about really since COVID is, you're right, we don't know. And probably half of those teams that are in that coaches poll, we won't even be talking about anymore once we get to October. And they'll be replaced by a bunch of teams that we didn't think we needed to spend much time researching. And that's why, all due respect to the NFL or whoever, that's why this is still the greatest sport in the world.
Ryan, where are you on Texas A&M this year?
I think that Texas A&M, if the college football tooth fairy comes to College Station, as you can have the same year you had a year ago, plus a win. Like, give me another win in there somewhere. If the college football tooth fairy comes and offers you a 9-win season with a solid, what we used to call a New Year's Day bowl game, you say thank you very much, because I think they're on schedule to set themselves up for success for the next decade. And so and y'all know I'm a Tennessee alum. I've told my Tennessee people that too. If somebody comes to you and says, here's a solid 9-10 win season and a nice bowl game, you say thank you very much, because I think that A&M is on the way up. Marty and I, you guys know, we did our talking season special that'll airs next week on SEC Network, a week from today, and we sat down with Elko, and I've known him long enough to know when he knows that he's got it pushed in the right direction. And so that's where I am with them. I think that, like so much of the SEC, honestly, I think like the whole conference, they could win the whole thing, or they could settle into an 8-9 win season and finish the year. And again, it's chaos, and I'm here for it.
Well, then I'll follow that up with Marcel Reed. He's obviously a big storyline with the Aggies. I thought he played really well last season. Do you like what you see from Marcel? Do you see some areas that could maybe push the Aggie offense a little bit higher?
Well, I like him, but Moss, to me, is the ticket. I think that, and rightfully so, everyone talking about Reed is the way it should go. But I just, it's funny because I've had this conversation with Elko before, too, especially when I live in North Carolina, especially when he was just up the road to Duke, about, the passing game, and rightfully so, and the quarterback, and rightfully so, gets the attention. But for me, if number 8 is rolling with it, I think that's the ticket for them this year.
Ryan, what about a team like Florida? Could potentially this schedule that they have again be a blessing for Billy Napier, or does he have to win at a pretty high level regardless of the schedule because of DJ Lagway, because they've been patient with him?
Well, no one in Gainesville cares what the schedule looks like. They don't, And here's what I love about Billy Napier. And I wrote this column going into the season last year, which was people in Gainesville get very frustrated with Billy because Billy, his pulse rate never changes. And he's kind of boring. And he knows that. He cuts his own hair, guys. That's who he is, right? He stands over the sink and he cuts his own hair because he says, why would I waste time and money going down to Great Clips and getting my hair cut when I could just do it myself? And it shows that's a terrible haircut, but he doesn't care. And this is a program that was raised on Spurrier and was raised on Muschamp and was raised on these guys that even, obviously Urban Meyer, even if they weren't winning, they weren't boring. And when on A&M, we went to Gainesville last year for Marty McGee, week 1 and 3. So we were in town for that A&M game, and we had to go to this dinner, like at the athletic director's house on Friday night. And this happens a lot when we go into town. We've done it in College Station too. And we're just, all the mucky mucks are there with their Gator stuff on. And they're all pulling me and Marty and Paul and everyone aside going, we're going to fire Billy on Sunday. If they lose the game, we're going to fire Billy on Sunday. And they were gleefully saying this because they thought they were going to get Lane Kiffin. And, we're going to move on without him, and we need somebody more exciting. And we all know A&M won that football game, but then Florida basically didn't lose the rest of the year. And I loved watching those same people be so uncomfortable. And I know Billy enjoyed it. And so that's a long way of saying they don't care what the schedule is. They think they should be playing for a national championship every year. But I wrote it, I think it was 2 years ago. If they just let Billy do what Billy needs to do, then they will be building something for the long term. And because of his buyout clause, I think it's forced them to have to sit with him. And I think they're going to long term, they're going to love it. But that schedule's awful. Like this, it is so bad. It's so if you're a Florida fan. But if he takes care of business with that schedule, then it's going to be really, really difficult, even with a couple losses, for the playoff committee to keep them out of that expanded playoff field when we get to December.
Ryan, last thing for you, LSU, a team that, they're in the top 10. They have the best transfer portal class. Brian Kelly says it's the deepest team he's had, one of the best teams he's had. Do they live up to the expectations this year?
You better win week 1. They've lost 5 in a row, and the assignment is tough because they got to play the Death Valley Bowl and go to Clemson. And I think Clemson is the class of the ACC this year. And I think this Clemson team feels an awful lot like, the Clemson back in the day when Dabo had them in the championship game every year. I love Nussmeier, and anyone who sits and talks with him would love him. And so if he is giving some defense, he's going to put points on the board. And so I think they have a chance. But that being said, if they go to Clemson and they lose, then they will the talk will have already started. No matter what the expanded playoff, because you guys know you can lose a game, maybe lose 2 games, and still be in the playoff. But if they lose that first game and they lose it ugly, and that'll be 6 in a row opening weekend, then it's going to get very ugly down there on the Bayou. But I like Nussmeier a lot. But again, schedule's awful. At Ole Miss, at Alabama, they got A&M at home, but they finished the year at Oklahoma. It could be the only thing they do better than drink in Baton Rouge is drama. And so if they get any drama, and those two things are probably related. but if they lose that first game, we're going to ratchet up the drama for the rest of the year.
Ryan, great stuff, man. Thanks for making time for us. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Appreciate it. We'll see you somewhere on the road this year.
You got it, man. Ryan McGee, breaking it down. Marty and McGee, they do a great show. All right, we'll hit a break here. When we come back, short segment followed by long segment followed by show. All right, right now, a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. If you're looking for a selection that won't break the bank, if you're looking for a great selection, you need to check out Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They have a growing inventory. It changes all the time. And when you go online, you'll see the selection. You go in person, you'll be blown away by the entire experience. They're locally owned. Aggie alumni team is there to help you find the right vehicle for you. And you're going to love the entire process during and afterwards because they have the best customer service. And when you buy a vehicle there, it's going to come with that complimentary oil change for life. That's right. Thousands of dollars in savings for that vehicle as long as you own that vehicle. And they're also going to give you top dollar for your trade-in. Don't wait. Those deals don't last forever. Remember, it's about a 15-minute drive. The edge of Bryant to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar. I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going? You use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst.
As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We'll hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. Ava Davis is at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Got a retirement to discuss.
We do. Track and field assistant coach and Texas A&M Athletic Hall of Famer Juan De La Garza has retired after 34 seasons coaching the Aggies throw group. Head coach Pat Henry says he is a close friend and has been assistant coach of mine for 27 years. He gave 30 years of service to Texas A&M as a coach and another couple as an athlete. I lose the best throws coach in the country, but I will never lose him as a friend. During his time with the Aggies, he produced 8 national championships and 28 conference championships, all of which played a huge part in the Aggies' 10 NCAA team titles, and 18 conference team championships. His group holds 9 of the 12 school records in throwing events. De La Garza says, I've made so many memories here, and I'm proud to say I always held myself and my athletes to the highest standard of discipline, integrity, and character. It's been a privilege to spend the last 34 years of my coaching career here in Aggieland.
Good stuff, Ava. Appreciate you. When we come back, Nick Savage and around the SEC. That's next on TexAgs Live. Welcome back in. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. It is time for Around the SEC, and that's brought to you by the Jaxter Group. Let's talk to Nick Savage, who always presents intriguing SEC headlines and questions.
Yeah, so this is kind of a national college football topic, but it involves SEC teams because we're going to use this coaches poll to kind of project out the playoffs, all right? And maybe we can...
Sorry,
I did the old one. Yeah, he did. We can, play the game of who wins what, who goes where. So Texas would be the number one overall seed if the coaches poll was the playoff poll, right? They'd be the SEC champion, you'd imagine, if they're the number one overall seed. Ohio State, the Big Ten champ, number 2 there. Penn State, you'd imagine, would be the Big Ten runner-up. If they are 3, 4 would be the SEC runner-up. 5, Notre Dame, they're not in a conference, so they get, they just get to whatever. Number 6, you know how I feel about Notre Dame not being in a conference. Not the biggest fan, but anyways. Number 6, Clemson, they'd be the ACC champs, so they make it in. Oregon would be in that 7th spot, so that's 3 Big 10 teams getting in. Alabama and LSU, 2 more SEC teams getting an at-large bid. Number 10, the Miami Hurricanes making it in with an at-large. I don't see that happening. My answer to the question I asked UNOB earlier was like, who's going to raise lower? I feel like Miami's going to drop maybe completely out of the rankings when it's all said and done. They have Arizona State, Big 12 champ, there. And then the final 12th seed goes to Boise State, the 5th conference champion. So they'd make it back in there. They are ranked 25th in the coaches poll. So I guess out of that crew, I'll throw it back to you. Who do you think would win that playoff? What's the final? What are the final 4 teams? Maybe I know we don't have the best. I probably should have made a graphic or something for this that would show what the bracket looks like. But obviously, the favorite probably Texas, Ohio State to make it in there.
I just don't know if both of those teams are going to be that. So I got a lot of questions about Ohio State because I think Texas is going to go to Ohio State and win that first game of the season.
Yeah, so here we can play it out. So let's play it out. 8-9 game would face the number 1 seed Texas Longhorns. The 8-9 game would be Alabama LSU.
It would be a rematch from the regular season. Taking Alabama.
Okay. 5-12 game, that would be Notre Dame and Boise State.
Notre Dame.
Yeah, easy one there. They would be matched up with Georgia. 7-10 game, that's Oregon and Miami. Give me Oregon.
Yeah, give me Oregon.
And
even though I got questions about Oregon too, but yeah.
Then the 6-11 game would be Clemson and Arizona State. That's
Clemson's going to demolish them.
Okay, so in the 1 versus, you picked Bama, right?
Yeah, I picked Bama.
Okay, so Texas, Alabama.
Bama.
Okay, we got the Georgia Bulldogs against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Georgia.
Okay.
Even though I'm not high on Georgia either. I'm SEC bias, I guess.
Okay. We have the 7-10 was Miami and Oregon. So you picked Oregon to face off against Ohio State. Another semifinal.
I guess Ohio State again. God bless. I'm just playing the game that all the other media plays. God bless.
Yeah. And then Clemson going, or I guess facing off against Penn State.
Penn State.
Okay. So we got Texas versus Georgia, the first semifinal.
Again? Sick of that matchup. I guess Texas? I don't want to, but God bless. No. Okay, Texas.
Okay, and then you had Ohio State, right? Or Oregon? What'd you say?
I had Ohio State.
Okay, Ohio State versus Clemson.
I'm taking Clemson.
Okay, so we got national championship of Clemson and who? Who'd you say? This is a lot to follow for me.
Texas
Sorry.
And Clemson.
Texas and Clemson. So that's a rematch.
Wait, Penn State hasn't played somebody yet, though. You didn't give me a Penn State.
Oh, I'm sorry. You chose Penn State earlier. Yeah. See, this I should have made. Oh
my God!
Because now I'm all confused. But anyways,
Billy, call Nick on this one.
Yeah, that we were going well. I'm the one that screwed it up. You're right, but I don't know. Just thought it would be a fun exercise.
Yeah, I don't know.
A lot of rematches from last year.
But again, these coaches polls are based on last year more than they're based on this 100%. Year, right?
Every single team in the coaches poll going to finish somewhere different. All speculation.
So reasons to believe, because I guess I had Ohio State doing better than I expected, but then I guess they have them losing to Texas. So reasons to believe in Ohio Smith. I guess two of the best players in college football, maybe. Would that be a reason to believe in them, Nick? You got Jeremiah Smith. I think he makes plays after plays, right?
Yeah.
Caleb Downs, really good on the other side of the ball.
He's good.
Yeah. So they'll get a huge test to open up the season. I don't like that matchup for their first game for them. I don't. I think Texas is a little bit more seasoned than Ohio State is. But I think that's they've got reasons to believe, right? They're Ohio State. They always recruit at a certain level. They've got all the players in the world, right? But when you lose a quarterback, a running back, some of your offensive line, and some of your defensive line, which, by the way, you could say about some of the other teams we're going to discuss. You got new coordinators, I think, on both sides of the ball. I think there's a lot of questions there when it comes to Ohio State. Am I right that Ole Miss was 15th in the coaches poll?
Well, let's double check that on the
Am I right about
graphics. That is correct.
All right. So that is based on last year. As Dalton would say, last year, the way I say it. Lane Kiffin, though, every year, a coach that has that offense clicking and the portal king, but that you lose Jackson Dart, does Austin Simmons, I think offensively they'll be fine, but they're not going to be as fine, and their defense is definitely going to feel different. You've got holes at receiver, which, not huge holes, but you're going to have to, and the offensive line. But they have a very soft non-conference schedule to open up, so there's reasons. I think SMU is 16th, if I remember. Yep, there it is, 16th on there. Are they going to be as good? Kevin Jennings was solid for them. He could play. He's solid, right? So Kevin Jennings, and they've got some people. I think that offense is clicking. But they have a harder non-conference slate this year. They got Baylor, they got TCU. They've got games against Clemson, Miami, and Louisville. So I don't know if they'll be able to duplicate the success that they had there. Tennessee, another team that I look at. We talked about them with was it Chris Lee, and I really have some questions. But why would you believe in Tennessee this year? I'll give you some reasons. Defensively, right? Those are plenty of reasons. But the quarterback spot, Nick, it could be an advantage. Could be an advantage that you don't have the Nico drama.
Yep.
But you have unproven at the SEC level quarterbacks there, right? And you don't have Dylan Sampson, your best running back. So, I think Heupel's a great coach, and he's, one of the things I like about Heupel is that he has evolved with what the roster gives him. But that's reasons to doubt, right?
Yeah, and I'm looking at Joey Aguilar because he's, probably the projected starter there at Tennessee. And if you look at his one start against a Power 5 opponent, it was against Clemson, and it was a 66-20 loss. He only threw for 214 yards and a touchdown. He rushed for negative yardage. So, again, not a fair comparison. If I look back to 2023 here, let's see if he played any Power 5. He played UNC, did well, threw for 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. But, again, not really fair to pick 2 games and say, oh, he's not going to be good. But I guess, like you said, unproven at the SEC level. You can say that about transfers on any team. So, but, yeah, you heard Chris Lee say it earlier. Josh Heupel's done a good coaching job every year he's been at Tennessee. So it'll be interesting to see if he can, make another one happen this year.
I poked some holes in Ohio State. I'll have to poke some holes at Texas and the obvious ones we've talked about. But what you can say is, after back-to-back appearances in the playoffs, and one of those in the SEC, we can talk about the schedule and yada, yada, but they won in the playoffs. So they've arrived. They're SEC contenders. They're number 1 for a reason. But the reality of the situation is, if you're going to poke holes, your offensive line takes a hit, right? It's new questions, new guys. The depth takes a hit. You don't have a clear-cut number 1 wide receiver. And, although, I don't know. I think they'll be fine. I just put up their schedule from last year, if you don't mind, Nick. Do you have last year's schedule?
Texas?
Yeah, last year's.
No, I do not.
You don't have it? Okay. I'll load it up real quick, because when you look at Texas 2024 schedule, you look at them and you're like, who of substance did they beat last year? And who of substance did they lose to, right?
Georgia. They lost.
Twice, right? They lost to Ohio State. Who did they play that was ranked last year?
They played number 10 Michigan on the road and beat them 31-12.
I don't think Michigan was the number 10 team, but you got to take it at a moment of time. If I do that for A&M, I'll do it for Texas. Okay, so that is regardless. Opening up on a Big Ten game, back-to-back years, by the way, on the road, impressive. So they were number 10 when they played them?
Yep.
Sure about that?
That's what it says.
Okay.
That's what ESPN says. Okay. They beat number 18 Oklahoma 34-3.
Okay.
They've lost, like we just mentioned, to number 5 Georgia. Then they went on the road and beat a ranked Vanderbilt team. They were 25th at the time.
All right. I'm going to try to make this a little bit, sway it more my way. When they took on teams that should be or were contending for the college football playoffs, how did they do?
Let's see. Lost to Georgia.
The only team that
if you want to say A&M was contending for the college football playoff, because I think they were at the time. If they
win,
they're in the SEC championship.
Texas A&M, yeah.
So they beat Texas. They lost to Georgia in the SEC
But they won 2 playoff games, right?
They did.
So this year's schedule is not as forgiving as last year, right? Because I do think I'm a believer that Ohio State this year is ahead of where Michigan was last year at the same time, even though they were both the champions heading into the season, right? I think Ohio State is a much better team than Michigan was at this point. So I'll give them that. And then going to Florida, to me, might be their first loss of the season. That is, that it's probably going to be a night game if Lagway's healthy. I think Oklahoma's better than they were last year. So the first half of the schedule provides, if not 3 road tests. 3 road blocks, if you will. The second half of the schedule, a little easier. At Kentucky, at Mississippi State, those are going to be easy wins. Vanderbilt, not the same Vanderbilt team. You do have to go to Georgia. If Georgia has the skeletons that people have talked about, that's still going to be a night game, crazy. Arkansas will destroy. And I hope A&M is the team that we think we are. So not as forgiving when it comes to Texas. Beyond that, I'm trying to think who else. I guess that's really when I look at the 25, I'm like, I get it of where these teams are. To me, who has the potential to eclipse where they are? Texas has the potential to backtrack, right? Because there's nowhere above 1 other than finishing 1. I think Alabama can move up. I think LSU can move up. They could easily move back. A&M should move up if they are the team that we expect them to be, but we haven't done that. We haven't seen that recently. Let's before we hit a break, let's go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center because we got a loaded rest of the 10 o'clock hour. And Ava's got a couple things to hit us, and then we'll hit a break and talk to Alyssa Mautz Bower, who A&M soccer later on today plays in their first scrimmage game of the year. Ava?
Derek Miller earns a top general manager in college football from CBS Sports, as announced was yesterday. He joined the Aggies football staff as a recruiting general manager in 2024. Miller served in the same role for head coach Mike Elko for the 2 seasons at Duke in 2022 and 2023.
Yeah, congratulations to Derek. Great guy, by the way, doing a fantastic job. I think portal additions this year and the way they're recruiting, just props to them. One more story, Ava.
Yes. 3 Texas A&M commits were named to Touchdown Club of Atlanta's 2025 preseason All-Star team. This includes defensive lineman Bryce Perry-Wright and pass rusher Tristan Givens were both named All-Stars on the defensive side, and receiver Aaron Gregory on the offensive side.
Awesome. I got to spend some time with Aaron Gregory and his family. That kid is going to be a special, special player. We'll hit a break here. When we come back, we'll talk a little Aggie soccer, and then we'll close out the show with Jordan Lockhart coming in studio. We'll chit-chat with him about the upcoming season, his growth, and try to get into a bunch of storylines with him. Right now, we're talking Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. They're Aggie-owned and operated. They're a mobile IV hydration company that was founded in 24, and they want to just bring you all the good wellness that you can imagine here in the Bryan-College Station area with their amazing services like IV hydration. They've got Botox, and they also can help you with your weight loss options. And if you're looking for a quick boost of anything, right, hydration potentially, or you need a dehydration preventative,
They can tailor an IV cocktail specific to your needs, and they've been doing it for folks around town during marquee events. They were at the Troubadour Festival a couple of months back. People really got to see that firsthand, and they loved it. If you have a busy weekend, an IV can be the easiest way to ensure that you're receiving all your necessary vitamins and minerals. And remember, they want to bring a personalized, accessible wellness option to a broader clientele here in the Bryan College Station area, and they can go to you. To book an appointment or inquire about their services before an event, call them or text them. 979-217-1561. 979-217-1561. It is Aggie Land Hydration and Injectables here in the Bryan College Station area.
And we are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We got a little Aggie soccer to talk about because we got a scrimmage later on today. Alyssa Mautz is with us. Well, Alyssa Bower, but we know you as Mautz.
Correct.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. So we were talking at the break. I don't want to say shocked, but like I remember when you came back to town, and now you're entering your fourth season, right? Like it's been a minute.
Yeah, time flies. I swear. I didn't think it was going to go as fast, and now to like say that to you, I was like, wow, this is going on 4 years. Now it makes me feel even older.
Well, let's kind of just chit chat about where the program is right now. Just talk to me about this roster and what you think about this team.
I think we have a special group right now. Like we have this new crew, I would say, that's just like eager to get things started. And I think there's just a new energy behind us. We see where the program has been, but obviously we still have things that we still want to improve upon and, you know, make it to the next level with our program. And I think these girls are in the right position right now, have the right mentality to take it to that next level.
And there's a lot of new faces. I think one of the things G told me at the preseason kickoff was like they hang out together. Like there's just a different like, and it's not cliquey. It's like they're just genuine. Like they're kind of all experiencing it together.
Yeah, I mean that's what I feel like A&M soccer is all about. Like it's a different culture, it's a different feeling. Like it's a family oriented. The other day I went into the locker room a little bit earlier than training, and they're playing Rummy Cube. Like I love that. Like not just on their phones, just on social media. Like those are the things that you're going to remember, and like the memories that they're making with each other and just knowing each other off the field. And I think that carries on to the field as well.
I know you can't give me the game plan, but like when it comes to a scrimmage tonight against Rice, 7:30, I believe it's free to go if you want to go check it out. What is like, are you working on particular things? Or are you letting them play? What's kind of the game plan from the coaching staff?
I think we've kind of had this little niche that we're wanting to take on is being very organized defensively. And I always think defensive teams win championships. So I think that's our main focus right now, and being really organized on defense and hopefully creating a lot of opportunities, which we just got to put those in the goal.
Well, the back line feels different, right? Talk to us about what we can see, some of the faces we might see in the back line.
Ooh, we got a whole new back line and young, but then there's an older girl on the back line, which I think will carry it a long way. Not maybe vocally, but like the way she like plays, I think she'll carry the team.
For you personally, like you played at a very high level, and I'm sure when you're a really good player, like I've heard like MJ talk about it, Magic Johnson and other sports, like it's when you've played at a high level, it's hard to expect that kind of clear commitment from younger folks that aren't necessarily you. Has that been a transition? Like, hey, this is how I did it, or do you evolve with them? Do they evolve with you?
Whew, that's a hard question because sometimes my standard is really, really high because I feel like my mentality from the very beginning was different. And I feel like that's what brought me to be so successful. But then also I want them to like rub off on me. And so I think the girls know that I can be hard, but also like understand where they're at, what they're going through. So I think it's just a combination of both of us.
When you think about this year's team, do you think like we can take a big step up? Does it feel that way, at least at this point?
Yeah, I think we will surprise a lot of people with what we have and what we're doing. I think we definitely can put our name out there, and I think A&M will be like a target again.
So St. Louis kid, how'd you end up at Texas A&M?
That's a good question. I came here for a youth soccer tournament and took a tour of the school. Didn't know anything about the soccer program.
How old were you at this time?
Probably like sophomore.
Okay, so high school, yeah.
Yeah. The traditions and what the school was all about, that's what made me fall in love with it. And then I found more about the program, and I was like, oh gosh, they're like legit. And so I never thought that I could be able to step on an Ellis Field. And then going through my first year at a different school and going through that transfer process here, like it was a dream come true. And I think it was meant to be how it happened with struggling that first semester of my college and then coming here and figuring myself out and just be taken in by the Aggies. Like, it was just such a good experience, and like I never thought I'd come back, and I always wanted to come back, and then now to be an assistant coach here, it's just been like a full circle for me.
So you played in the NWSL for 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
How was that experience and watching that league kind of grow?
I mean, it's awesome. Like, women's soccer is growing so much, and to see where it was when I started to where it is now, am I a little jealous? Of course.
Yeah.
But like, that's why I did what I did, to get to see where it would grow and what it becomes. So it's just funny to hear like the girls complain about the things that they're complaining about now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if you would have known. Yeah. But I mean, I feel like we're always going to complain. We're always going to want to have a higher standard for the league, but I think it's going in the right direction now.
What are some of the things you were complaining about back then, if you remember?
One, just having a locker room. And I think just like, it's funny, ironically, I was kind of like going through old emails, and I came across my first contract, and I was like, and I showed my husband, he was like, wait a second, that really was your first contract? And I was like, yes, it was. And I don't know how I lived off of it, but I did. I made it work.
You found a way to make it work. How was the soccer community in Chicago when you played there?
It was good. Like,
yeah.
It's hard always where the stadium is located to get fans out there. But like in the city, and like when the World Cup was going on, you could see how much of a soccer fanatics there are in the city. But yeah, it was a great community. I mean, St. Louis is even bigger soccer community now, but like, it's just a fun little community to be a part of.
What's it like playing at Ellis? Like, just the vibe, like, especially when you were playing, they've always supported Aggie athletics, right? So just playing in a community that was so, it doesn't matter what you put out there, they're going to go be and support it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of a kind experience. It's still probably top 3 fields I've played on.
Mm-hmm.
Just because like the fans are close by, like they're invested in the program. The heckling of the goalkeepers, like those are the stories I still hear.
Yeah.
And it's just like fun to like now be on the other side as a coach too, and just see the experience. The girls like light up because of fans being around and cheering them on. Like, that's what it's all about. You want to have a little fans like clapping for you, throwing the confetti. Like, it's a good feeling.
So you said this team's going to surprise some folks. What about this team in particular should we be watching out for? Strong defense. You think there'll be more opportunities to score goals?
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to create a lot of opportunities, and just like the relentlessness that they have inside the box, we're seeing different side of that, like putting their bodies on the line. Me as a player, that was always me on the ground, like doing whatever I could to get that ball in the back of the net. And I think we're starting to see that. We're starting to see those girls just like have this look in their eyes where I'm going to do anything for my teammates, and I'm going to do anything to win this game.
How has G kind of grown from when you played for him to the kind of coach he is now?
Wow. It's funny to see both sides of him now. Because I was telling him the other day, like, I used to be so afraid of you.
Really?
But I like that as a coach.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be afraid of my head coach. I don't want to be like...
his buddy?
Yeah. Like, there's a balance for sure. Like, I've always been like close to most of my coaches, and I think G now is seeing like, you have to like show your players that you appreciate them, you want to get to know them, like you want to see them as a human.
Right.
And like, we had this moment at our Jeffersonian dinner where he like kind of teared up because he was talking about the program and how much it meant to him. And I think the girls seeing that side of him and seeing how much he cares and wants this program to be successful, like, I think that carries a lot, and it shows the girls how much he does care for them and he wants the best for them.
So let's do a timeline. You got Rice and you got a game Saturday. When does it get real?
It gets real against Baylor.
Okay.
I think it's August 14th.
So it's like here.
Yeah.
So this next week is like super important to figure everything out.
Yeah. We have like a span of 2 weeks where it's just like bam, bam, bam. And we're, as coaches, like, when are we gonna have training? Like, how, like, it's right here, and it's ready to get rolling.
Alyssa, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Appreciate you. All right, we'll hit a break here. When we come back on TexAgs Live,
Jordan Lockhart here in studio. Talk a little Aggie football. That and more. It's TexAgs. All right, we're back here at TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Our thanks to Texas Aggies United for another great interview. Jordan Lockhart is in studio. Talk a little Aggie football. His time here at A&M. What's up, Jordan?
What's up? How's it going?
I'm all right. So I was telling Jordan before the show, I'm actually supposed to have
lunch with his dad soon. A mutual friend of ours set up a lunch, so we're all going to get to chit chat. And I guess you knew that was happening when you walked in. How has this time at A&M gone for you?
Man, it's been great, man. It's been a real intense experience for me personally, for me and my family. I'm just looking forward to take steps forward and just have fun.
Yeah. So I want to start back. Why Texas A&M for you? What was it about A&M when you were going through the recruiting process, and how did you ultimately end up here?
You know, being a kid from California, you know, you're meant to like stay at home or go to anywhere else. Not really much. You don't really find too many kids from California to go to the South. But me personally, just growing up watching, you know, more SEC games, took a visit here. I watched the A&M games in person, and just seeing the love and expansion from, you know, the whole 12, man. I just fell in love with SEC and, you know, schools in the South. So, and I specifically wanted to come to Texas A&M.
Was there somebody who was like, I don't want to say responsible, but like took a key role in recruiting you? Was it maybe a player or a relationship with the coaching staff? Like, who kind of took you under their wing?
I actually came from the old coaching staff and everything before Coach Elko came. So, but before I met any of the new coaches that I have like a strong relationship now that I'm, you know, when they all got here as we built like that bond, I would say somebody who had a big influence, who I was shadowing was Torian York. You know, he's somebody who showed me around and everything, just made me feel welcome, you know, in the linebacker room. So that's for sure something that, you know, played like an influence of me wanting to come to a great school like this for competition and growth and development. For sure.
Let's talk about that linebacker room. You mentioned Torian Scooby, like yourself. Let's just talk about the group overall.
Man, it's love, man. You know, it's everybody's chasing greatness every day. I'll say, you know, they're great guys to learn from. You know, it's such a competitive room from a detail standpoint. Everybody's just trying to find ways to get better and just, you know, taking notes from everybody. You know, we got Scooby, Damian Sanford, Torian York, Tristan Jernigan, and like just learning from everybody so we could all be the best version of ourselves. So, you know, just taking steps forward.
For your growth, talk to me about last season. I think you appeared in 10 games. There's some really nice moments. How has this transition of like waiting your turn, getting opportunities, and hopefully getting a lot more opportunities this year?
Oh man, just I would say the biggest thing for my first year that I told myself, just continue to learn, continue to grow, continue to learn from others, so I could turn it, you know, make it for myself going into next season. But I'll say my first year, it was really great, fun experience. Played a lot of special teams, played in a few games, but I would say it was just, you know, getting my feet wet and with Coach Bateman and everybody, just learning from the whole organization as a college football player, continue to take one step at a time.
I don't want to say is it hard, but like when you're doing a lot of special teams, does it feel like an audition every time? Like I've got to show up here because I'm trying to cement myself, and this is a way I can kind of impress the coaches.
You know, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of ways you could look at it, but I look at it like, you know, it's still football. Everything is important in football, whether it's special teams, whether it's offense, defense. Like everything should be taken as an opportunity, as your main position to, if that's what it's going to take to help, you know, help the team win. And then that's what we got to do. And so that was like, from my perspective of my eyes on that, like it's all important, you know what I mean? Because anytime you're on the field, you're there as an opportunity to help win a ball game. And that's what we're here to do at the end of the day.
So at the end of last season, do you kind of self-scout, self-analyze, all right, this is the areas I got to take my game to? I'm sure the coaches gave you things too. And then how do you implement that?
For sure, man. I mean, one thing they expect from me is just making sure, you know, just come in every day, pay attention to the details, and just give it my best. And from my experience from the time I did, you know, got my feet wet in the games, you know, outside special teams and special teams as well, was for sure something I really took to heart to go take it to another level in my, you know, my defensive play at linebacker, and continue to just be ready and do anything I could do to help the team win.
So I'm watching you in this interview, very mild-mannered, right? On the field, do you become an animal? Do you stay the same? Like what is Jordan like on game day?
Man, if you tell all my teammates, man, I'm kind of crazy. You know, I'm really crazy, man. I'm really calm. I love to socialize with my guys, my buddies, my teammates, my brothers. But I would say on game day, you gotta have some type of edge that makes you go like, so.
Yeah.
But feed off of that. Schools like this, and it's just a great environment.
Rich history of some really great linebackers here at Texas A&M. Do you? So how do you get to that level? Or is it a music thing for you? Is it a you just it's fight or flight
for
you to get
day?
to that level? Yeah.
I would say for sure my Polynesian culture. I come from a Samoan household, and in the ancient times, we're known to be warriors, and I feel like in football that's my way of I can express that, that warrior heart. It's just the way we run, the way we hit, the way we speak. I just try my best to be passionate and just know that I come from a race of warriors. So I would say that's where I get it from for sure.
How do you look back at last season's defense and take a big step forward as a group this year?
As a group, I would say just continue to pay attention to the details, making sure we're finishing on the things we got to finish. I would say that's been the biggest emphasis this offseason, is just making sure we're paying attention to the things we got to pay attention to from a championship level execution, so we can finish the things we want to finish come this fall, and as we go, continue to progress throughout the season.
One of the things I've heard too is that when we talk about finishing, that's everything. Not only finishing reps, right? It's finishing your homework. It's finishing cleaning dishes, whatever it may be in your life. Like it's a beginning to end. It's not like 3/4 of the way through.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that something that the coaches are constantly reminding? They want it in front of you?
Yeah, for sure. Coach Elko always emphasized to us making sure that we're putting all our focus to what's in front of us now. We're not focused on next week, the week after that. We're focused on what can we accomplish today, these next 24 hours, to making sure we're doing all the things we need to do. So when it's time when we get on the practice field, in Kyle Field, that everything is championship level execution. And the best way we could do that is just by taking one play at a time, paying attention to the details that's going to make a difference in a football game.
Jordan, we talked a little bit about your offseason, but in the middle of the offseason, we had the spring game. It was a nice moment for you. Just talk a little bit about that day and, hoping to build on that.
Man, for me, I'm just looking forward, obviously, as a bigger role this season, but I know I got a lot more work to do. It just goes back to it, just learning from other guys. So it helps me give myself an edge anytime I get my opportunity. The spring game was fun, just flying around with my guys. And I'm just looking forward to this fall, just being the best linebacker I could possibly be, not only for myself, but for my teammates. And it just goes back to I got great people to learn from. Coach Bateman, helped me tremendously grow this offseason from an IQ standpoint. And I'm still growing and everything like that. So I'm just looking forward to, just give the people what they want to see, and that's championship level execution. So that's something, I'm just me personally just trying to focus on as a player.
When you watch Torian work and you watch Scooby work, what kind of jumps out about the way they go about their business?
Man, it's great, man. I'll start with Torian. Torian is a guy who's an insanely worker, and he helped. When I came in, just see how he goes about his business, how he takes notes in the film room, how he recovers his body. It's something that I try my best to continue to do the same, because the standard's a standard and everything like that. But he's a great guy to learn from, and really looking, from a detail standpoint, he's really good at paying attention to detail. So that's something that helped me up my game.
Sure.
When the time come for any time I was in the game, it helped me just the notes from the off season. I would look around and everything like that for sure helped me up my game from a detail standpoint. And I'll say Scooby, that's we're real close. He's a guy all around linebacker, big, strong, fast, finesse, smart. So I would say that just everybody, that's the purpose of college football, learning from others. So when you get your opportunity, you're making sure you could do the same thing.
And he did that last year hurt. That just, right?
I'll tell you this, Scooby Williams, he's a warrior, man.
Yeah.
He's a true warrior. A guy who could do that is, he's tough. He's tough.
What are you studying in school?
Studying in school, I'm a sports management major, sir.
Okay. So I'm assuming you would like to play in the NFL at some point, but beyond that, like, what do you see yourself doing?
I took a public speaking class and everything. It was really a great experience. For sure, after my time in the NFL is done, I would like to, come back.
Take my job, maybe.
No, sir. No. You're the best to ever do it, man.
No.
But I'll for sure, we'll see where God takes me and everything like that. But we'll for sure help my father out with his business. Maybe definitely get into Hollywood and everything like that. But it doesn't stop after football. We're going to keep the ball rolling. But as of right now, my goal is I'm here right now. I'm here to do what I can as an individual to help the team win a championship, and here to get my degree, here to get my Aggie ring, and I'm here to get drafted. But it all starts with just being, where I'm at right now. So that's my dream, is to, Coach Elko says, we got the plans to win a championship, the plans to get your degree, and the plan for you to get drafted and everything like that. But for me as an individual, that's just the things I always focus on and try my best. I'm doing what I can to make those things happen.
All right, let's close out with this. Why would this be a better year for Aggie football, just in general? Give us those that are watching that are so invested. Give us a why.
Our togetherness. I feel like if there was a game we came up short or anything like that, it only brought us together as a brotherhood, and it only helped us come together, like in the weight room, come together even more on the field, come together in the film room, come together when they paying attention to the details. And it just goes back to it. Our goal this whole offseason was just simply just do this, finish. And every day we're not focused on anything else but championship level execution and making sure we could put it on display come this fall and take it one game at a time and get to the places where we need to go.
Jordan, thanks, man. Appreciate your time, buddy.
Thank you.
Jordan Lockhart here on TexAgs Live. We'll be back in 2 and 2.
Nick, is starting to become that time of year where we've got fans of other fan bases, right? Listeners of other fan bases got to throw in their jabs.
Well, we have that year round, but
We
who is it
do.
now? I haven't been looking.
Oh, there's a guy named Bob. I Google everybody, every single person. I look at every.
People can use fake names on the internet, right?
Not when you Google their phone number. And
you're looking
I
at
do
the
it all.
text
I
line.
find every
Okay.
way, and I have a friend who's a hacker. His name is Jim Hacker, and we find out every bit of detail, where they work, what they do. I'm kidding. I don't do all that.
Is he friends with Johnny Topper?
Oh, he and Johnny Topper are dear friends. I get it. Look, he thought he was being funny by setting, happy 8-4 day. That was yesterday, not today. I guess it still fits because they did go 8-5 last year. But that being said, Bob, get your licks in. It's all good, buddy. Look, A&M has to be better. We get it. I don't know if Bob played for Texas or went to Texas. I don't think he probably did. I think he probably went to, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. Who knows? LinkedIn will tell me. That being said, they've got to take care of business or these jokes will continue, right? And I know Billy in the past has brought up Clemson as an example. You are who you are until you're not. And there's no reason for that not to be. By the way, I remember a big stretch for Texas not being that good as well, right? So then I see a stat that, I don't know. I don't want to get into stats. A&M just has to get it done. Let's go to Ava there at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. More from Mr. Lucci, I understand?
Yes, Mr. Billy Lucci reposted the top 25 coaches poll with some commentary about what he thinks. He says, I'd have Penn State at 1, Ohio State at 2, and Texas at 3. But he did say they can flip-flop depending on who wins at the shoe. He says flip Clemson and UGA, move Bama up to 5, A&M ahead of 4 of the SEC teams in front of them.
Yeah, so what I'll say to all that is I'm kind of on the same page. I think I said it at the top of the show. I'm kind of on the same page as Billy. I value teams with experience and returners more than I value just talent because I'm told that that's the talent. But I have the same questions about, everybody's got questions about Penn State, right? They haven't done it yet. But why not use that same logic? They haven't done it until they do. We would gladly take all the 10-2 seasons that they've had, right? But I kind of agree with Billy there. I have no problem with the way the order shook out, though, because to me, it is about, Texas has been to the last couple playoffs. Ohio State just won the national championship. Penn State actually went further than people thought last year. Georgia is Georgia. Notre Dame's coming off a college football playoff final, right? Losing to Ohio State. I have more of those 5. And Nick, tell me if you agree here. Of those 5, I have the most questions about. I'd probably say I have the most questions about Notre Dame, and then probably Georgia. I think it would go reverse order, 5-4. Those are the ones I have the most questions about. Agree or disagree?
I'm going to say Penn State again because again, I feel like.
See, I don't have questions about Penn State. I think they are who they are,
and they get an easy schedule, and they get to walk into the playoff. And then, I get what you're saying, but I would probably put, if we're reordering the top 5, I'd go Ohio State 1, Texas 2, Georgia 3, Notre Dame 4, Penn State 5. That's what I'd do.
Well, that's why you get paid the big bucks, buddy. Happy birthday, by the way, to Alex Nuño, my big bro. His birthday today. My dad was last week, so it's been a good run. All right, so tomorrow on the program, I think John Harris. I know he's been busy with Texans training camp. Ricky Seals-Jones. How about that? I think he's going to be in studio.
Yeah, he should be in studio.
Holy smokes, that'll be a great one. Recruiting Country, Ryan Broniger. Something at 10:35. I don't know what that's going to be.
By the way, can you please start pulling that? That's why you get paid the big bucks, buddy. Whenever someone comes on our show and they just say something you don't agree with, just don't anything. Just that's why you get paid the big bucks, buddy.
And
then move
use
on.
the word buddy.
Yeah, you got to buddy them.
Buddy,
I feel kind of insulted the more I think about your comment. So
what's more rude, bud or buddy?
Buddy.
All right, bud.
Buddy, yeah.
Buddy? All right, buddy. I think it depends on how.
It's like you're talking to a little kid, So it's like you're demeaning them.
Bud? All right, son.
You're my best bud.
Yeah.
That's friendly.
You know what, Nick? That's why you get paid the big bucks.
Buddy.
Buddy.
We'll see you mañana.